Chapter 361. Sect leader said that Wu Dangkong has a top treasure on him. I found it weird too. Jing Fanqing said, but since family head is going to help, then it will definitely be easy and you will be able to settle this matter. Your mission now is not to act rashly. Just gather all the experts of our Jing family and occupy the various provinces, prefectures, and counties in the name of doing business. At the same time, keep an eye on the Governor Manor and prepare to strike like lightning to wipe out Yanko's rule in Jinzhou. Jing Qiu stared at the Governor Manor. Han Wuqin was a talent. He came from a poor family and when he was young, he went up the mountain to chop wood and serve his mother. In the end, he actually obtained the Cold Dragon's celestial freezing technique and a cauldron of pills left by an expert in a cave. After cleansing his body, he cultivated for dozens of years and finally reached his current realm. Unfortunately, he wasn't willing to join our Jing family. What is Han Wuqin? At most, he is at the 100 Aperture Spirit Gathering realm. There are many people like him who have such fortuitous encounters. He just has some luck. The Cold Dragon's celestial freezing technique is an ancient technique that absorbs cold energy and uses it to circulate around the body. It isn't a strong technique. Jing Fanqing was filled with disdain. Such a small person has been suppressing our Jing family for so many years. I am really unhappy about it. Forget it, but this person has some luck. If you want to attack, then wipe out the roots. Don't leave a single one of his 9 families alive. Kill them all. Jing Qiu's eyes flashed with killing intent. At the same time, transfer some of the magic treasures from the Scenic Martial Merchant Association to my Jingzhou in the next few days. I reckon that once the world is in chaos, all the aristocratic families will respond to our call. When the states start to lock down, it will be tough to move resources. Don't worry, Patriarch. With Jing Fanqing's current cultivation, he wasn't afraid of any sudden incidents. I am worried about the Wu clan's attitude. Ever since I was plotted against by that little bastard Gu Chensha, the Wu clan and Wu Dongkong's attitude towards me has changed. I think the Wu clan's thinking is for Wu Dangkong to ascend to the throne as a woman and rule over the world, restoring the glory of the martial emperor. Right now, Wu Dangkong is already in the central position of the imperial court. She is the country supervisor and the imperial harem empress. If the world is in chaos, it won't be beneficial to the Wu clan. I'm afraid the Wu clan will turn around and suppress us. Also, why did Patriarch tell Gu Tanjian about the plan? If he leaked it, wouldn't it mess up our plan? It's fine. Right now, only the Celestial Pacification Department can suppress us. The Imperial Court's 8 marquises and 3 dukes each have their own missions. It's impossible for them to come out in full force. As for the Celestial Designer Institute and the Supernatural Workmanship Institute, the 2 old fellows will act according to the wind. Ever since Gu Taxian went into seclusion, they have been slacking and won't stand out against us. The reason why I told Gu Tanjian is firstly to intimidate him. Secondly, if he really leaked it, it will increase our prestige. Under the mysterious heaven's will, I will let the world know that I am the vanguard of the revolution. This is also a kind of resource that will allow me to comprehend the changes of the variables. Jing Qiu said, Fanqing, you still can't understand this realm. If you don't enter the Black Heaven-Earth Gate to cultivate, you still have a chance. However, there's no rush. I will turn you around sooner or later. Many thanks, Patriarch. Jing Fanqing said, how long will it take Patriarch to deal with the matter of Wu Dangkong? Just 2 or 3 days. This woman is still not mature enough. Jing Qiu said, after dealing with this woman, it will be the day of our Jing clan's uprising. In about 3 days the heaven and earth will change. As he spoke, Jing Qiu had already disappeared. At this time, even Jing Fanqing couldn't see how Jing Qiu had left. Gu Chensha, you're dead this time. Jing Fanqing looked at the governor's office not far away, but he didn't want to alert the enemy. In fact, He knew that with his current cultivation, he was no match for this person. In the governor's office in Jing province, Gu Chensha was discussing with Han Wuqin. Your frost dragon's celestial art was left behind by an ancient immortal. However, that immortal's cultivation was only at the 19 changes. He didn't cultivate magic power. In the end, he died, so this art is not complete. I will now teach you another martial art called the Fire Dragon Alchemy Art. It will complement this art and complement each other. Once you master the water and fire, you will definitely break through to the next realm. It won't be a problem for you to cultivate the glass jade body. Since the Jing clan has evil intentions, they must be eliminated. After that, Jing province will be in turmoil for a while. At that time, you will need to appease the people. Thank you, Your Highness. Han Wuqin was overjoyed. The Fire Dragon Alchemy Art was deduced by Gu Chensha based on many cultivation art. It was the most suitable art for the Frost Dragon's celestial art. With his current cultivation base, he could already control 300,000 things with a single thought. In addition, the book The Heavenly Talisman Immortal Emperor gave him contained many cultivation arts, history, manufacturing, secrets, and so on. Qin Wentian was extremely knowledgeable. The book The Heavenly Talisman Immortal Emperor gave him contained all sorts of cultivation arts, history, manufacturing, and secret. It could be said that Gu Chensha's accumulation was full. What was left was self-enlightenment, solidifying his foundation, and turning all his accumulation into magic power. The reason why he gave Han Wuqin some pointers was that he found this person to be quite talented, especially when it came to governing and handling various political relationships. His understanding of the way of governing a country was superb. Moreover, this person was truly loyal to the imperial court. Your Highness, I have already ordered my subordinates to start observing in secret. If the Jing clan makes any movements, they will immediately be captured. But if you can capture the main culprit and capture Jing Qiu and Jing Fanxing, then it will be much easier to deal with the Jing family. After all, the Jing family isn't a saint aristocratic family, and they don't have many experts. Han Wuqin said, to capture the thief, capture the leader first. That will reduce the chaos to the minimum. I can wipe out Jing Fanxing with the flip of my palm, but it will be tough for Jing Qiu. He has cultivated to the Tao Realm 25 transformation undying body. It isn't as simple as strength. Instead, he can use divination and know the past and future. He can predict everything and gain the upper hand. Gu Chensha explained in detail. He wasn't in a rush and was waiting for news from Zhuge. Zhuge had personally attacked to deal with Jing Qiu. The moment he attacked, he would strike like lightning and kill Jing Fanxing. As for the other Jing family members, he would deal with them when the time came. He patiently discussed with Han Wuqin here to grasp the place and understand the strategy of governing a country. His common people heaven-mending technique was comprehended from common people, and he understood the ways of governing a country, the customs, and the customs of the people. This was also a resource for him to improve. He was asking about law and order. Jing Zhou had the best law and order, and there weren't any thieves. The rich families and sects all did business in a well-behaved manner and didn't dare to bully the people. Actually, the hardest thing to deal with is those gangs. There are many boxing dojos among the people, and they train to protect themselves. When they train, they become senior brothers. As time goes on, they form gangs and sections. They collude with local officials and families, and that becomes a problem. That is the underworld, Han Wuqin said, but the emperor gave the decree to build schools everywhere and let the disciples learn and train for free. He cut off the business of many boxing dojos and sects, so the underworld was slowly cut off. He then talked about how he managed the sects in Jingzhou and how he fought with the Jing family. He used his governor identity to suppress some branches of the Jing family. Gu Chensha didn't expect that there were so many things hidden in the seemingly peaceful Jingzhou. The undercurrents were turbulent and couldn't be underestimated. He listened with great interest. He thought that with Han Wuqin's cultivation and background, he might not be able to govern Jing Zhou better than Han Wuqin if he became the governor. Han Wuqin wasn't even a genius but a top-notch talent. However, Gu Chensha was a top genius and was close to being a saint. Talents are needed to govern a place and cultivate too. However, governing a country seems to be different from cultivation. Could it be that humans don't need talent and can be compared to geniuses through cultivation? If one can't cultivate and their talents aren't good, they won't be able to comprehend the Tao. Is this the threshold set up by the heavenly Tao for immortality? Gu Chensha seemed to have comprehended something crucial. For example, if an idiot was taught to cultivate, he wouldn't be able to reach a high realm. However, if he was allowed to study and increase his knowledge and become an official, he would be able to govern a village, then a town, and finally a county. It wasn't impossible for him to become a governor. In this aspect, it seemed like the heavenly Tao didn't have strict requirements for talent. In terms of cultivation, if one wasn't a genius, they wouldn't be able to cultivate to the golden core of the Great Path. If one wasn't a genius, they wouldn't be able to cultivate spiritual power and reach the 20 changes of the Tao realm. As for being an official or any other profession, the requirements weren't as harsh. In history, there were even foolish princes and foolish officials who still managed to keep the world at peace and nothing happened. There were also foolish people who became great masters. As the saying goes, diligence can make up for one's stupidity, and clumsy birds fly early. As for cultivation, no matter how diligent one was in cultivation, it was of no use. Cultivation is a matter of life and death. Breaking through realms can increase one's lifespan. This is the most crucial point, and it is restricted by the heavenly axiom. To the heavenly axiom, all living beings in the world are crops, and death means that the crops have ripened. If people don't die, it means that the crops have not ripened, and instead, they will steal the fertility of the fields, so it is better to eradicate them. It is no wonder that the highest aptitude set by the heavenly axiom is to be born a saint and a child of destiny. Even a saint cannot live forever, and in the end, they will turn into the laws and merge with the heavenly axiom, becoming one with the heavenly axiom. From the looks of it, a saint is just an extremely fat pig. Only then will I have the opportunity to break through. Gu Chensha's understanding of divergence deepened by another level. It seemed that there was indeed the principle of mending the heavens and reforming the heavens among the lowly common people. He slowly comprehended the changes here, waiting for an opportunity. At this moment, in the depths of the wildlands, there were primitive forests everywhere. There were huge trees that covered the sky and majestic mountain ranges. All sorts of peaks were like ancient giants, stretching to the ends of the world. Who knew how many secrets were hidden in these mountains and forests? On a protruding and ferocious peak, the clouds were still halfway up the mountain. Standing on the peak, one could see the sea of clouds floating. Wu Dangkong stood there and said to the sky, "Uncle Jingqiu, why did you ask to meet me in the depths of the wildlands today?" Chapter 362. Jingqiu's body was still so elegant. In comparison, he was much more elegant than Jing Fanxing. Comparing the two of them, one was a scholar while the other was a hooligan who liked to fight on the street. In fact, Jing Fanxing was originally an extremely powerful person. He was born to be an unparalleled genius, but because he had an engagement with Wu Dangkong, and Wu Dangkong married into the royal palace, his mentality changed, which led to his current appearance. He had yet to walk out of the shadow. This was a predestined fate. The marriage between Wu Dangkong and Jing Fanxing was something that Jing Qiu discussed with the Wu family head. Jing Fanxing entered the Heaven and Earth sect, and became an important core disciple, was also the result of Jing Qiu's actions. Jing Qiu was a special person. He had no background and didn't have any fortuitous encounters or masters. He also didn't enter the Celestial Path sect to learn. Initially, although the Jing clan wasn't bad, it couldn't be compared to those supreme sage clans. 100 years ago, under his leadership, they slowly unified the Jing prefecture and established the Jing country. At the most crucial moment, they submitted to the heavenly talisman Immortal Emperor, saving them from destruction. Now, the Jing family slowly had the foundations of a saint world. Only Wu Dangkong understood how difficult this series of developments was. Jing Qiu's methods actually made her worry. Even with her strength, she had no choice but to let the Jing family have the biggest share in her merchant association. Even now, even if she obtained the heaven ritual decree, she had no confidence in facing Jing Qiu at all. Her cultivation was really strong, but compared to the undying body of Tao Realm 25 transformation, there was still a huge gap. Moreover, she heard the Wu family old ancestors say that Jing Qiu had a chance of comprehending the secrets of divergent numbers. Divergent numbers referred to heaven, divination, and fate. Divergent numbers referred to breaking away from heaven and fate. This realm was truly unbelievable. Niece Dangkong, you've really grown up. You're destined to be. As soon as Jing Qiu appeared, he said directly, "Do you hate the heavenly talisman emperor and the tranquil immortal department to the bone?" "Yes." A look of hatred appeared on Wu Dangkong's face. The tranquil immortal bureau must be destroyed, and so must the Yonko. Very good. Now let me ask you, if the Jing family immediately revolts, how will you respond? Jing Qiu was waiting for Wu Dangkong's response. "Uncle Jing Qiu, are you sure you're not joking? Rebel immediately?" Wu Dangkong's expression changed. "Gu Taxian is still here. Not long ago, a talisman was sent from the void, naming the second emperor as the crown prince. Uncle, you must not act rashly. I don't care about that. I just want to ask you, if the Jing clan makes a move, what will you do?" Jing Qiu looked at Wu Dangkong and locked his gaze on him. "I can only bide my time and let Jing Xian Bureau and Uncle fight to the death." Wu Dangkong spoke the truth. She knew that she couldn't hide it from Jing Qiu. "That is part of my plan." Jing Qiu nodded his head. "But I want to borrow a treasure from you, how about that?" "I don't have any treasures to lend to Uncle. With your abilities, you have cultivated to the undying body of Tao Realm 25 transformation. You don't need any treasures at all." Wu Dangkong forced a smile. "Do you think that Uncle doesn't know?" Jing Qiu took a look. "Niece's cultivation has far surpassed Fanqing's. Fanqing relied on the black gate of heaven and earth to forcefully damage his lifespan and advanced to the Tao Realm's 22 transformations of heaven and earth. Niece has gone through the Heavenly Tao Divine Light ritual, the Grotto Heaven ritual, and the Dharmaraja ritual, raising her potential to the extreme. She has the King of Mana in her body, and her sea of consciousness and energy has turned into a Grotto Heaven. Even Uncle can't compare to you. Only gods and saints can open their Grotto Heaven in the turbulence of time and space. It's impossible to open it in the human body. The human body can't withstand the power of time and space. Even I can't. If a god forcefully imbues the power of time and space into my body, I will die. Even the 3 celestial venerables can't do that. What do you think? Uncle, what do you want? Just tell me the truth. There are some things that don't need to be said out loud." Wu Dangkong calmed down. "If not for the help of your talisman, I would have had some difficulty suppressing the common people's wish sphere and killing so many people from the Celestial Calmness Department. There would have been fish that slipped through the net." Jing Qiu smiled. "What I want to do is what my niece wants. Uncle is so confident in wiping out Calming's Celestial Department? That is impossible. Even the Heaven and Earth sect leader, Black Yellow Dragon Emperor, and Li Wanlong couldn't do anything. Is Uncle stronger than those saints?" Wu Dangkong didn't believe that Jing Qiu could wipe out Calming's Celestial Department at all. That's because of the power of the death exemption talisman. But now, the talisman's power is gone. Besides, even without it, those 3 saint-level experts wouldn't dare to wipe out Calming Celestial Department. They're just testing us. They wouldn't dare to kill us. Jing Qiu's words hit the nail on the head. However, you can't understand my realm. Let's not talk about the Calming Celestial Department. Uncle, do you have a way to deal with the Lord of 7 Stars, Zhuge? Asked Wu Dankong. Of course. Jing Qiu didn't seem to care in the slightest. At best, the Lord of 7 Stars is just a slightly more powerful saint. In ancient times, she was schemed against by the 3 celestial venerables and died. The Lord of 7 Stars isn't strong enough yet. I can destroy her. Mr. Jing Qiu, you sure talk big. At this moment, a voice rang out from within the sea of clouds. I've never seen someone as arrogant as you. A stream of magical power coalesced into a physical form. The person who had appeared out of the sea of clouds wore a crane's cloak, and held a feather fan in his hand. He was young, and his feet hovered in the air. He looked like a peerless strategist from ancient times, someone who could plan for the world. This was the Lord of 7 Stars, Zhuge. As soon as he appeared, he smiled and looked at Wu Dankong. Her Highness, Concubine Ming, worked with me not long ago to foil the Yellow Dragon Emperor's plan. Why are you coming to deal with me today? Mr. Zhuge, Uncle Jing Qiu, this is a matter between the 2 of you. I won't interfere. Wu Dankong suddenly hid herself. She was very smart. She didn't want to get involved in this fight. Of course, she wanted to sit back and reap the benefits. Oh, so you're the Lord of 7 Stars, Zhuge. Jing Qiu's eyes locked onto Zhuge. He didn't care about Wu Dankong's disappearance. You do have some color, but that's all. Since you've come to find me, it saves me the trouble of looking for you. The Jing family wants to be the vanguard of the revolution, and you want to use this chance to borrow some mysterious fate to seize the key point and become an outlier. Zhuge sighed. You're too naive. If it were so easy to become an outlier, who knows how many people have broken through to this level? The 3 celestial sovereigns did it because they were ancient enough. Chang Weiyang of the profound Cosmos Gate relied on her father, Chang Yuzhou, to become one with the Tao and perish in exchange for a bit of life. Plus, she really did understand the workings of the universe, and had countless fortuitous encounters. She stole a tiny leaf from the primordial tree, which gave her the resources to become an outlier. But she's still stuck at the Tao realm of 30 permutations, and she's only at the sage level. She still has a lot of tribulations ahead. She only has a 10% chance of jumping out of the 3 realms and out of the 5 elements. In other words, even if you gain enlightenment and become an outlier, your strength won't increase by leaps and bounds. Heaven and earth won't tolerate you, and you'll encounter all sorts of tribulations. Mr. Zhuge, you're talking a bit too much. Jing Qiu maintained his scholarly demeanor and didn't attack. In the world, it's not about success or failure, it's about whether or not you dare. You were the Lord of 7 Stars, and your mission was to assist the Son of Heaven. Unfortunately, you betrayed your mission and turned to the powerful Gu Taxian. As a result, you lost your right to be the Lord of 7 Stars. You've fallen into the ranks of the uncanny workmen. The ignorant are fearless. Zhuge Ye looked at Jing Qiu with pity in his eyes. Jing Qiu, I admit I didn't expect your ambitions to be so great. You're vicious and merciless. You're willing to throw the world into chaos and plunge the people into misery and suffering just to give you an opportunity. You're doing things that even the 3 celestial sovereigns and the sages don't dare to do. You're amazing. Either you're crazy or you're truly ambitious. But given your ambitions and your strength, you don't want to be an outlier. Strength? Jing Qiu clasped his hands behind his back. You'll have to try to find out. I know that the Lord of 7 Stars plans are flawless, but did you realize that you can no longer communicate with the Life's Wish Sphere? Without its help, your strength is the same as your true body's. Of course, I know you left some magic power in the sphere. Even if I kill your true body, you can be reborn. But that sphere belongs to the Jing clan. No matter where you hide, you won't be able to escape the fate of becoming a puppet of the Jing clan. Zhuge Ye looked up at the sky. At some point, an invisible power had sealed off the area. He really couldn't sense the life's wish sphere. A connate spiritual treasure? Zhuge Ye looked at Jingqiu. I can't believe you have a connate spiritual treasure on you. Only a connate spiritual treasure born from the primordial tree can block the life's wish sphere's connection. You really do have something you can rely on. That's why you're so arrogant. But even a connate spiritual treasure can have a world of difference in power. This treasure of yours is far inferior to the black gate of heaven and earth, and it's not even as strong as the life's wish sphere. It's just a bit special. That's the first step. Jingqiu looked up at the sky. Mr. Zhuge, in order to refine the life's wish sphere, you did something extremely stupid. You offended someone you shouldn't have offended. Coincidentally, I found that person and obtained this connate spiritual treasure. Mr. Zhuge, don't you want to know who that person is? Tell me about it. Zhuge Ye arched his eyebrows. At this moment, a ball of yellow light appeared behind Jingqiu. It kept changing, and a winged dragon snake appeared. The dragon snake wore an emperor's crown on its head, and it disappeared in a flash. Chapter 363. That's right. The North Star Empire is the ancestor of all demons. It's an existence that surpasses the four symbols and is the embodiment of the law of the earth. Back then, it gathered many demon sages to write the divine demon book and left its will in it as a means. However, does Mr. Zhuge think that he can really control the divine demon book just because he refined the will of the North Star Empire with all sorts of despicable means? Jingqiu naturally had something to rely on. He actually saw the real North Star Empire. The yellow light behind him was the power of the North Star Empire. Of course, he didn't know where the real North Star Empire was. However, it had its eyes on Jingqiu as one of its representatives. Not bad, not bad. No wonder you're so arrogant. You've been chosen by the real North Star Empire and became its pawn. However, the real North Star Empire should be in a deep slumber. You didn't obtain much, so you imparted some secrets and gave a connate spiritual treasure. If I'm not wrong, that connate spiritual treasure of yours should be called the Central Wutu Virtuous Flag. It's a connate spiritual treasure condensed from the Hongmeng tree. The North Star Empire obtained it and refined it for many years. It can strengthen the law of the earth. However, it can only defend and not attack. Zhuge Ye didn't panic at all. With this flag protecting me, no matter how powerful Mr. Zhuge is, he won't be able to escape or cause any harm to me. It can be said that I'm already in an invincible position. Moreover, I'll seal Mr. Zhuge in this flag and mobilize the law of the earth. With the help of the power of the North Star Empire, he'll enter the world of the common people's wish sphere and refine its core to control this sphere. What do you think? Everything you've done is for the benefit of my Jing family. At this moment, it was unknown what Jingqiu had done. Instantly, the entire mountain was enveloped by yellow lotus clouds. The yellow lotus clouds were the connate spiritual treasure, formed by the power of the Central Wutu Virtuous Flag. However, this treasure only had the ability to seal and defend. It didn't have any substantial attack. Oh! Mr. Jingqiu's schemes are truly profound, and he's advancing at every step. He has even surpassed some deities. With the help of the North Star's main body, it's true that you can pose a threat to our Celestial Calmness Bureau's sphere of common people's wishes. However, that's all. On the contrary, the Central Wutu Great Virtue Flag can be fused into our sphere. You actually possess the North Star's bloodline and the Azure Dragon's bloodline. Very good, our Celestial Calmness Bureau is lacking in these two bloodlines. As long as we capture you, we'll be able to attain the consummation of the 5 elements. Zhuge Ye did not launch any attack. He merely watched as Jing Qiu performed his moves. Your tranquil, immortal department obtained the White Tiger bloodline? Jing Qiu frowned. This is beyond my expectations, but it doesn't matter. The outcome has been determined. Jing Qiu, what other trump cards do you have? Show them all, lest you say that I didn't give you a chance. Zhuge Ye waved his hand. Now that things have come to this, Mr. Zhuge is still being stubborn. You really won't shed tears until you see your coffin, Jing Qiu smiled. Since that's the case, I'll activate my techniques and send you on your way, Mr. Zhuge. Well said, won't shed tears until you see your coffin. Zhuge Ye suddenly laughed, as if he had heard the funniest thing in the world. What are you laughing at? Jing Qiu asked. Since that's the case, I'll let you see your coffin. Zhuge Ye's body suddenly straightened. Buzz above his head, a boundless space-time turbulence appeared. He could even faintly see some spatial and temporal faults, but he had no idea where they were. In the depths of the space-time turbulence, there seemed to be something like an ancient beast lurking in the deep sea. That thing was a coffin. The coffin was the color of an ancient stone. There were even iron chains wrapped around the coffin. There was an unparalleled power pushing the coffin. The coffin didn't stop at a certain place in the depths of the space-time turbulence, but it moved slowly. But every time it moved, it was in a different space from the world, or even at the same time. Just looking at the movement of the coffin in the depths of the space-time turbulence was enough to make an expert vomit blood. The power to bury the world. Zhuge Ye said these 4 words. The coffin in the depths of the space-time turbulence seemed to hear Zhuge Ye's voice, and suddenly moved slightly. Suddenly, a huge shadow appeared above Zhuge Ye's head. The power to bury the world came from it. Boom! The shadow of the coffin shook, and the clouds sealed by the earthen yellow lotuses shattered. Then, a small earthen yellow flag appeared in the air. The flag shrank back and let out a mournful wail, but in the blink of an eye, it was sucked in by the shadow of the coffin. The shadow of the coffin disappeared into Zhuge Ye's body, and the flag appeared in his hand. It was like a magical treasure, and its aura merged perfectly with his. You. Jing Qiu's face fell. The world-burying coffin. That's right, the world-burying coffin. It's also a connate spirit treasure, but it's much stronger than your central Wutu Great Virtue flag. The previous Lord of 7 Stars used all of his resources and schemes to obtain this coffin. It seals away the mysteries of the 7 stars, preventing them from returning to the planet itself. Not even the 3 celestial sovereigns can find the coffin. They've always wanted to dig up Jiang Gongwang's grave and steal his treasures. Just now, I used this attack to take away the central Wutu Great Virtue flag. It seems the North Star Emperor doesn't trust you very much, and left you a trump card in the connate spirit treasure. Unfortunately, Jiang Gongwang supported the Son of Heaven and fought against the demon folk. He knew some of the primogenitor North Star's secrets and weaknesses. The North Star Emperor suffered a calamity in ancient times, and is far from fully recovered. He used you as a pawn to take back his heavenly demon tome. Unfortunately, all of that was part of my plan. Did you really think that after I refined the North Star Emperor's will in the tome, as well as the Joss flame and faith power that Ant who prepared for it, I wouldn't be on guard against the North Star Emperor? You're underestimating me, Zhuge Ye. Zhuge Ye reached out and grabbed at the Wutu Great Virtue flag. Earth-colored blood poured out of it, seemingly capable of transforming into mountains and rivers, capable of bearing the weight of all things. This was a supreme bloodline that surpassed the 4 symbols divine beasts, and could be said to be the pinnacle of demon folk. A bit of the blood entered Zhuge Ye's body, causing it to transform. It became deep and heavy, inseparable from the earth. In Jing Qiu's eyes, it was like looking up at a tall mountain. After absorbing a bit of the North Star Emperor's blood, Zhuge Ye tossed out the remaining blood and the central Wutu Great Virtue flag. the void split open, and an enormous sphere appeared, within which was another world. That was the common people's wish sphere, the calming immortal department's cornerstone treasure. Just now, Jing Qiu had used the central Wutu Great Virtue flag to seal the mountain, but Zhuge Ye had used the power of the legendary world burial coffin to break it, and at the same time, he had taken the treasure. Once the treasure was taken, the seal was immediately broken. Zhuge Ye could once again sense the common people's wish sphere. Jing Qiu watched as the treasure entered the sphere's world and fell into the heavenly demon tree in the center of the world. It turned into countless earth-colored lotuses and fused with the world's main body. Immediately, the world inside the common people's wish sphere changed. The soil and earth came to life, and each grain gave off a fragrance. The fragrance of the earth filled the interior of the sphere. However, Zhuge Ye waved his hand and the spatial tear closed, not letting Jing Qiu see what was inside. This sphere originally lacked some maturity, and we couldn't control it as we pleased. But now that we've obtained the flag and the North Star Emperor's true bloodline, it's truly perfect. Once I obtain the Southern Third Flame Prairie flag, the Western Seventh Metal Killing Destruction flag, the Northern Ninth Dark Underworld flag, and the Eastern Second Wood Life Spirit flag, the 5 elements spirit treasures and the 5 elements sacred beasts will all be combined. This treasure will have the mysteries of life and death, and it won't be any weaker than the Black Gate of heaven and earth. Zhuge Ye's aura was completely different from before. Jing Qiu, what else do you have to say? Do you really think that your plan to unite and unleash the universal strike will shake the Yanko's rule? You're just a bird that sticks its head out. Since ancient times, when have the first rebels ever succeeded? They're just paving the way for the true monarch. Killing intent flashed in Jing Qiu's eyes. He had failed. He hadn't expected Zhuge Ye to be able to communicate with the interstellar burial coffin, and borrow its power to break through the seal in one fell swoop. Although he still had a trump card, he wasn't very confident anymore. Especially after Zhuge Ye obtained the North Star Emperor's bloodline, and fused the central Fifth Earth Great Virtue flag into the Life's Wish sphere, suppressing the mountains and rivers within. The sphere's power now couldn't be mentioned in the same breath as it was before. One could see that in the depths of the space-time turbulence, the Life's Wish sphere had taken on an earthy yellow color. It looked like a planet and not a treasure. This was a gradual materialization. Treasures of this level were gradually unshakable by humans, and even gods couldn't do anything to them. Kill. All of a sudden, Jing Qiu attacked. A long and narrow sword appeared in his hand, and it carried an unstoppable aura and heavenly killing intent as it stabbed towards Zhuge Ye. In the blink of an eye, Jing Qiu was in a daze, like the king of the netherworld. His sword didn't even need time to pierce into Zhuge Ye's body. With such speed, there was no way anyone could escape. Any form of evasion or resistance would be futile, because this was practically the work of a god. This sword wasn't a physical body, but a manifestation of the godly power left behind by a god. After piercing Zhuge Ye's body, the sword disappeared, and Zhuge Ye's body instantly turned pitch black. Cracks appeared on his body, as though he was being pulled into an endless purgatory, with no return. Chapter 364. The demon domain had countless spatial dimensions, layer upon layer, and no one knew how deep they were. This was the so-called multiple layers of hell. God Maha was in charge of suppressing the demons in hell and not letting them come to the endless land. Of course, God Maha was the king of hell and the king of the evil gods, so naturally, his role in teaching the demons was delayed. Thus, he left all sorts of marks and treasures in the depths of hell. The heavenly talisman, Immortal Emperor, was a god of good and evil. Good and evil, right and wrong were not important to him. Everything would go according to his will. Hence, since ancient times, the devil calamities that occurred were inextricably linked to him. But naturally, he wasn't willing to be suppressed and left behind many method. Jing Qiu calculated this and was willing to be the vanguard. Naturally, he would receive the support of many experts. That way, he would be able to obtain the methods left behind by those experts. This 10 Hells Reincarnation Sword Talisman, with the speed of Jing Qiu's undying body of 25 transformations, it directly hit Zhuge Ye. Zhuge Ye was hit. Jing Qiu used his own technique to grab Zhuge Ye and refine him. His technique turned into a giant hand that pressed down, causing the world to spin and the sun and moon to lose their light. The black hand hung high in the air like it was stealing all the light in the world, causing the world to sink and the world to be destroyed. This was Jing Qiu's true ability. The ability that he cultivated was pure and extreme. Zhuge Ye, I'll let you see the true fist technique that I've been studying for 100 years. The fist of world overturning and overturning heaven and earth. At this moment, he seemed to have become a ruthless overlord who could throw the universe into chaos. When the heavens unleashed their killing intent, the stars shift. When the earth technique unleashed their killing intent, the stars shift. When the man unleashed his killing intent, the earth overturned. Jing Qiu comprehended the chaotic world Tao. His fist was also the chaotic world fist. Only in chaotic times will heroes emerge. Only when the world is never at peace is the way to progress. Since ancient times, the divine prefecture cannot be peaceful forever. The path of chaos is the path of cruelty, the path of elimination. Jing Qiu pressed down with his palm. Lord of 7 stars, today I will use your blood as a sacrifice to my Tao of chaos. Chaos is the foundation of eternal prosperity. The punch fell. Zhuge Ye was about to turn into dust. However, a lamp suddenly appeared above his head. It was ancient and bronze in color. Flames rose up from it, and inside of the flames were 7 stars. They seemed to contain power that had existed since time immemorial. 7-star lamp. Zhuge Ye only said those 3 words, and the lantern's power contained an unparalleled prayer power. It absorbed the sword qi in his body, and at the same time, it blocked the chaotic world punch. Jing Qiu's undying body had reached the 25th transformation of the Tao realm. When he used the chaotic world punch, he could rend mountains and rivers, form rivers, crush mountains, and overturn oceans. However, when the fist power landed on the 7-star lamp, it was like it had fallen into a quagmire. It sank deep into the ground, and all of its power vanished. Zhuge Ye had completely recovered his strength. This is my magical art. It's called the 7-star prayer art. I use my magic power to form the 7-star lamp, and I pray to the ancient 7 stars in the sky. I receive boundless life energy, and I have a true undying body. Furthermore, after the 100 Worlds Festival, I can sense the power of the 7 stars in the sky even more intensely. As long as the 7 stars aren't destroyed, I won't die. Zhuge Ye said coolly, God Maha's cultivation base is that of the wretch God King, but he's no match for His Majesty. Your chaotic world punch has some ideas, but it's too bad it hasn't reached a supreme level. Jing Qiu's face fell. He finally understood how terrifying the Lord of 7 Stars was. The Lord of 7 Stars' cultivation base had reached a level he couldn't even begin to imagine. He had never guessed that the current Zhuge Ye wasn't just the Lord of 7 Stars, but rather the combined wisdom and experience of 2 generations of Lords of 7 Stars. If Zhuge Ye truly obtained the legacy of the world-burying coffin, that would be his true achievement. Zhuge Ye, I admit you're strong this time. Jing Qiu was already thinking about retreating. You want to retreat? Zhuge Ye laughed. You plotted a rebellion, threw the world into chaos, and harbored evil intentions. You even ordered Jing Fanxing to assassinate a grand prince. Starting today, the Jing clan is exterminated. I'm confident that I can truly destroy your undying body. Right now, the workings of heaven are in chaos, and it's hard to divine the future. If you behave yourself and wait and see what happens, you'll be able to protect yourself. No one will be able to do anything to you. Given your undying body's cultivation base, and in 100 years, you'll be able to close the gap between the Jing clan and the Sage clans. But you're too impatient for success, and you're even crazier than Jing Fanxing. Jing Fanxing entered the black gate of heaven and earth to cultivate, wasting his lifespan and abandoning his potential. You, on the other hand, are throwing away your future and your life. Is everyone in the Jing clan like this? Do you really have a gambling nature? Zhuge Ye, you can't keep me here. Jing Qiu suddenly transformed into a golden streak of light as he prepared to flee. Unfortunately, the situation suddenly changed. The power of the stars in the surroundings formed chains that blocked Jing Qiu. Jing Qiu's body trembled. Countless golden lightning bolts exploded in the air, wanting to blast away the power of the stars and escape. But the power of the stars surged into the form of earthy yellow lotuses. These lotuses completely sealed off the area. This was really giving him a taste of his own medicine. You used the central Wutu Great Virtue flag to seal off the area and prevent me from escaping. Now, I'll use the power of the flag to seal you. Let's see how you can break free. There's no rush. We can take our time and fight. Once we're done, His Highness should have killed Jing Fanxing and arrested everyone in the Jing clan. He'll punish you according to the law. Zhuge Ye waved his feather fan. Are you feeling very anxious right now? Do you really think I don't have any other tricks up my sleeve? Jing Qiu turned around and cast aside all distracting thoughts. He knew that today was going to be a dangerous day. Zhuge Ye, the Lord of 7 Stars, was much more scheming than he was. As far as Jing Qiu could tell, Zhuge Ye was only at the 21st transformation of the Dao realm. He was far weaker than Jing Qiu, and wasn't a match for him at all. When it came to scheming, Zhuge Ye couldn't compare to him. But now it seemed he had completely failed. Every step was in Zhuge Ye's grasp. There was nothing he could do about it. He hadn't taken into account the world-burying coffin. If he had, things wouldn't have turned out this way. The world-burying coffin belonged to Jiang Gongwang. He had used a secret art to conceal the workings of the heavens and suppress the profundities of the 7 stars within. He had to wholeheartedly fight against Zhuge Ye, or he would perish here today. One wrong step led to many wrong steps. Now the Wutu Great Virtue flag had become Zhuge Ye's, and Zhuge Ye had also obtained the North Star bloodline, allowing the power of the common people's wish sphere to reach its full potential. As a result, Zhuge Ye had completely reversed some of the loopholes. Come on, Jing Qiu. Let me see just how many tricks you have up your sleeve. How dare you throw the world into chaos? Zhuge Ye knew that in order to suppress Jing Qiu, he would have to use some trick. After all, Jing Qiu probably had other tricks up his sleeve. He had to suppress him at all costs. At that moment, Jing Prefecture's governor's mansion. Gu Chensha was slowly flipping through the files and calculating Jing Prefecture's government affairs: soldiers, provisions, security, cases, population, commerce, river transport, and land transport. He was multitasking, and as he calculated, he felt that Jing Prefecture could be run better. This was the start of familiarizing himself with government affairs. After all, he was much better than Han Wuqin, and if he learned a bit and put in some effort, he would naturally be able to do better than Han Wuqin. Buzz, he seemed to have gained some insights. At that moment, the space above his head split open and a stream of earthy yellow blood flowed into his body. North Star bloodline. Gu Chensha opened his eyes and instantly understood everything. Ha ha ha, Mr. Zhuge has made a move. I didn't expect him to have such great power to be able to use the world-burying coffin. However, he can only use it a few times. This is Jiang Gongwang's power. The North Star bloodline was the law of the earth. After fusing with Gu Chensha's body, the White Tiger bloodline, Vermilion Bird bloodline, North Star bloodline, and Black Tortoise bloodline began to circulate, and boundless power began to flow through his body. Kacha kacha. His body reached a certain level of strength, like it was about to transform. But he suppressed that urge and calmed his soul. Next, I don't need to reach Tao Realm Transformation 20. I just need to get the Green Dragon bloodline. Jing Fanxing has the Green Dragon bloodline. As long as I kill him and extract the bloodline, I will be able to gather North Star, Green Dragon, White Tiger, Vermilion Bird, and Xuanwu together. I will form my body and reach a supreme realm. Only then will I be able to control the Guardian King Rituals King of Spells. Since Jing Qiu was restricted by Zhuge, without the strongest person, killing Jing Fanxing would be much easier. Jing Fanxing's cultivation had never been Gu Chencha's match before. Now that Gu Chensha had obtained the North Star bloodline, his strength had increased once again. The North Star clan was the ancestor of all demons. As the laws of Earth circulated in his body, his connate stellar qi and the power of his nascent spirit became even more vigorous. There was a fundamental change. Moreover, his body seemed to have reached a realm where no technique could be broken. Common People's Wish. Gu Chensha used the power of the Common People's Wish Ball, and all the mountains and rivers in Jing Province appeared in his mind. Moreover, he knew where Jing Fanxing was right away. So, his body flew up and rushed towards where Jing Fanxing was. Actually, he could rip open space and appear in front of Jing Fanxing. Jing Province's Jing family didn't have a treasure like the Common People's Wish Ball, so they couldn't stop him. But using the ball to rip open space consumed a lot of the ball's power. Unless it was a crucial moment, Gu Chensha wouldn't use it. He did some calculations. Every time he tore through space to teleport, it would consume 5 to 7 days' worth of energy from the life's wish sphere. If he used it a few more times, it would slow down the sphere's evolution, and it would not be worth it. Chapter 365. In Jing Prefecture, the place with the most troops was Chongding Prefecture, which was not far from Jing Prefecture City. There were 30,000 troops, but they weren't equipped with horned dragon armor or star soldier armor. They also weren't equipped with fire talisman spears. This was something that couldn't be helped. Even now, it was impossible for all the troops to be equipped with horned dragon armor and fire talisman spears. These two things were really precious, and only the generals in the army could be equipped with them. Great Yong's army had hundreds of millions. If they were all equipped with horned dragon armor or star soldier armor, they would have swept the world. Actually, even the Calm Celestial Division's army wasn't able to equip everyone with such equipment. At the border of Chongding Prefecture, there was a mountain. It looked like it was filled with lush trees and a narrow valley. It was desolate and uninhabited, but in truth, it was a secret base of the Jing family. This mountain had been hollowed out. Many formations had been set up in the belly of the mountain to absorb spiritual energy. Many disciples were cultivating here. This was the Jing family's training ground. Jing Fanxing was here. In front of him stood 5 people. They were Jing Xing, Jing Ji, Jing Xian, Jing Kong, and Jing Shui. These 5 people were the pride of the Jing family, and all of them were Tao realm experts. Jing Fanxing was prepared to give 5 dragon creation pills to the 5 of them, even though he was reluctant. The clan head used his Azure Dragon bloodline to exchange for these 5 dragon-making pills. After you consume them, you will become unparalleled geniuses. After that, you will lead the troops and control the 30,000 soldiers of the everlasting roaring residents. Jing Fanxing said. Right now, the commander of the 30,000 troops, Hu Di, is only at the 2nd transformation of Tao realm. I can kill him like a chicken. Jing Xing's cultivation was at the 3rd transformation of Tao realm, copper skin iron bones. Naturally, it was easy for him to deal with someone at the 2nd transformation. Moreover, this realm was most suitable for large armies to charge and kill. At the 2nd transformation, one's body could still be injured by swords, blades, arrows, and fire talisman spears. At the 3rd transformation, copper skin iron bones, there was basically no such possibility. It wasn't difficult to enter and exit an army of 10,000. The belly of the mountain was filled with spiritual chi. It was sealed off by a spell formation, and there were altars everywhere. It was several acres in size, and the entire belly of the mountain was dozens of kilometers in circumference. It was almost the size of a city. Within the mountain, Jing Qiu used his powers to purify it. People outside couldn't see through it at all. Even if one cultivated to Tao realm transformation 15 heaven eye hanging space, and could see into the ground, one wouldn't be able to notice anything. This was just one of the Jing family's bases. The Jing clan had dozens of such bases in Jingzhou, and it was unknown how much wealth they had accumulated. These were the foundations of a rebellion. I only need to bring 300 clan warriors, and I'll be able to destroy the 30,000-strong army and slaughter them all. Jing Xing was very excited. Master, you have planned for so long and you are finally going to act. From now on, I order the Jing family to rule the world again and change the dynasty. Master's strength is enough to support our Jing family to occupy half of the country. Moreover, once we succeed, we will kill Jingxianxi and obtain treasures. We will be able to fight against gods. At that time, swallowing the god province won't be a problem. As Jing Fanxing spoke, he looked at the belly of the mountain. What a pity! Our Jing family has worked so hard, but the family head can only find wild mountains and open up a mountain. The other saint aristocratic families have opened up their grotto heavens in the depths of the space current. It is thousands of times more convenient for them to train disciples than our Jing family. Having one's own grotto heavens was the foundation of a saint family. Moreover, the grotto heavens could gather faith power to become strong. The disciples of saint aristocratic families would have to conduct family sacrifices and worship their ancestors. This was also to accumulate strength for the grotto heavens. The Jing family lacked this. This was why Jing Qiu wanted to plot for the common people's wish ball. This was because even if Jing Qiu became a god and opened up a grotto heaven in the space current, it would still be very unstable. It could be destroyed at any time. Moreover, it was just an ordinary space. There was nothing in it. Disciples might as well cultivate in the real world instead of training in it. Those storage rings, bracelets, and bracelets could only be called storage spaces. They could not be called grotto heavens. The so-called grotto heavens and blessed lands had to have a stable heaven and earth cycle, forming a small world of its own. This required thousands of years of nurturing, generations of painstaking management, and even more marvelous methods. Jingxianxi had obtained the Book of Heavenly Demons, which contained the primordial world evolved from many ancient demon sages. It was extremely stable. Jing Qiu naturally coveted it. Alright, let's not talk too much. All of you know Master's plan. Here are 5 dragon creation pills. Consume them. After hesitating for a moment, Jing Fanxing took out the dragon creation pills. But just as he handed them to the 5, the dragon creation pills seemed to come to life. They suddenly broke free from his control and entered the hands of another person. This person was Gu Chensha. He really did transform into a Chensha, then reverted to his normal size and appeared in the belly of the mountain. Even though the mountain was heavily protected by formations created by Jing Qiu, they could not stop him. After all, formations were formations, and Jing Qiu was himself. Moreover, the mountain itself was made of ordinary materials, so the power of the formations created were limited. At most, they could only be used to deceive others. Gu Chensha. Jing Fanxing was shocked. That's right. It's me. Gu Chensha looked around the huge mountain that was dozens of kilometers wide. There were close to 10,000 Jing clan disciples. Very good. Jing Qiu has put in a lot of effort for his own ambitions. But he wants to rely on these 3 people to take over the world? He's too delusional. Gu Chensha understood the overall strength of the Jing family like the back of his hand. The strongest was naturally Jing Qiu, and next was Jing Fanxing. There was also Grand Elder Jing Yunhuang at Dao Realm Transformation 13, Jing Yunxi at Dao Realm Transformation 9, and 20 to 30 others who had reached Dao Realm. Overall, if one didn't consider Jing Qiu and Jing Fanqing, the Jing family would just be a second or third-rate aristocratic family. But with Jing Qiu, they were close to a saint aristocratic family. A supreme person at Dao Realm Transformation 25 undying body could live for another 2 to 3,000 years. That level of terror was indescribable. However, at this moment, all of his schemes had vanished into thin air. If Jing Qiu waited a few decades before attacking, the Jing family's strength would increase by thousands of times. But at that time, who knew what would happen to the calm celestial department? They were developing so quickly that he couldn't wait any longer. Kill! Seizing this opportunity, Jing Fanqing launched an attack on Gu Chensha. His body condensed and shrunk. He gathered all his strength at one point and turned into a sword. This sword was still the Xianmen demon descending sword. But compared to the assassination that day, this sword was much stronger. The sword slashed in front of Gu Chensha. Gu Chensha suddenly attacked and a cage appeared in front of him. This cage was a tetrahedron and was formed from Gu Chensha's golden pellet. Originally, it was really dangerous for the golden pellet to leave the body, and if one was not careful, it would be snatched away. That day, because of this, Gu Chensha used the Xuanwu to snatch Gu's golden pellet. He was sealed in the Sun-Moon altar and suffered a huge loss. But now Gu Chensha didn't care anymore. He wanted to end the battle quickly. The golden pellet was the strongest treasure. Along with the strength of his body and the endless support of it, Gu Chensha instantly raised his strength to the maximum. The gold core turned into a tetrahedron and trapped Jing Fanqing. Jing Fanqing let out a roar and turned into countless bolts of divine lightning in an attempt to destroy the tetrahedron formed by the gold core. If it was someone else's golden pellet, it wouldn't be able to trap a Dao Realm 22 phenomenon of heaven and earth expert. But this was Gu Chensha's golden pellet. The moment Jing Fanqing activated the lightning to explode, the golden pellet changed. It wriggled for hundreds of thousands of times and turned into a small common people's wish ball that squeezed inwards. Creak! Jing Fanqing let out a blood-curdling scream as a stream of green blood was squeezed out of his body. Green dragon bloodline! Gu Chensha didn't even take a look and just swallowed the green dragon bloodline into his body. The moment he swallowed it, he felt like his body was filled with the 5 elements. His bloodline gathered into a giant current that started to change his acupoints and other areas. North Star, Green Dragon, White Tiger, Vermilion Bird, and Xuanwu bloodlines were all gathered. 5 elements Saint Blood. And also the 5 seasons God bloodline. Sun Moon Dragon Blood. From ancient times until now, these bloodlines were supreme bloodlines that could stand at the pinnacle of the world. Right now, they were all gathered in Gu Chensha's body, slowly being absorbed and refined by his own enlightenment of the Tao. Soul power extract. A huge amount of power rose up from within. It surged out from the various acupoints and meridians in his body. It was injected into the golden pellet. Gu Chensha's golden pellet shone brightly and lit up the entire belly of the mountain. The belly of the mountain turned into a golden ocean. The light from the golden pellet had already turned into a golden liquid. Jing Fanqing screamed continuously in this golden pellet. The vast soul power in his body was extracted and infused into the golden pellet, increasing its might. In the end, all of Jing Fanqing's soul power was extracted, and he fell to the ground with a bang. He actually survived. However, he became an ordinary mortal with a body of flesh and blood. He was not even comparable to a martial warrior. He was completely helpless. With the golden pellet withdrawn, all the Jing clan disciples in the belly of the mountain seemed to have lost their strength. The martial arts that they had bitterly cultivated turned into nothing. Even their talent dropped. For example, Jing Fanqing was an unparalleled genius in the past. Now, his talent was that of a fool. This was simply an inconceivable method. When a person cultivated soul power, their physical body and primordial spirit would merge. Even if they were killed, they could not return to their original state. For example, it was almost impossible to return the dish to its original state after cooking it. However, Gu Chunsha did it. Chapter 366. Gu Chunsha obtained a total of 2 fallen celestial talismans from the common people's wish ball. One of them was obtained from the second prince, Gu Xiansha, who was now the crown prince. This talisman contained the wills of 3 celestial venerables, and it was no small matter. Unfortunately, Zhuge Ye had used some methods to refine it into the sphere, which instead made the sphere complete and suppressed the will left behind by the North Star Emperor. The other was obtained from Jing Fanxing, who had used the banishing immortal talisman when Jing Fanxing tried to assassinate him. But this talisman was just ordinary and didn't contain the will of the 3 heaven venerables. It merged into the depths of the common people's wish ball and obtained many secrets. Gu Chunsha had been comprehending such a technique, but it was tough for him to succeed. But after merging with the Gochin bloodline, his body merged with the 5 elements and seasons. His body reached a rarely seen realm. With this as his foundations, his golden pellet transformed. With the 2 of them working together, he was actually able to comprehend the fallen celestial technique. The most amazing thing about the fallen celestial technique was that it could strip one's talent and give it to someone else. This was an unbelievable technique. Gu Chunsha stripped Jing Fanxing of all his powers, cultivation, bloodline, and even talent, turning him back into a normal person. A talisman appeared in his hand. This talisman was similar to the fallen celestial talisman. It kept spinning and contained everything about Jing Fanxing. Of course, this talisman could only be used to craft treasures or to refine a strong existence. It couldn't be given to others. This talisman was formed by stripping Jing Fanxing of all his cultivation. If he tossed it to a stupid person, that person would become an expert at Tao Realm 22 phenomenon of heaven and earth. Normal people would just explode and turn to dust. Even Golden Core experts would explode and disappear from the world. Gu Chunsha's cultivation could slowly absorb it, but it was of no use to him. Jing Fanxing's talent was of no use to him. Gu Chunsha's talent had already surpassed Jing Fanxing's. Gu Chunsha's talent was of no use to him. After killing Jing Fanxing, he had obtained 5 creation dragon pills and a talisman condensed from his cultivation base. However, he had not obtained any Dharma treasures. At the 22 transformations of Tao Realm, lawful embodiment of heaven and earth, one's body could transform into all sorts of magical treasures. No magical treasure's power could compare to one's own transformation. Basically, at this realm, magical treasures were useless, unless it was a god weapon made by a god or the legendary Khanate spiritual treasure. Unfortunately, Jing Fanxing did not have any of these. In the belly of the mountain, all of the disciples of the Jing clan had their cultivation bases and latent talent stripped away by banished immortal. The geniuses Jing Xing and Jing Ji had become fools. These disciples did not even have the strength to truss a chicken. They no longer had the ability to do evil. The cultivation and aptitude of these disciples were also transformed into small talismans. Open. Gu Chunsha once again used the power of the life's wish sphere to tear open space. He sent the talismans, including the creation dragon pills and even the talismans formed from Jing Fanxing's cultivation base, into the depths of the life's wish sphere. At the same time, there were many pills, armor, talisman spears, as well as gold and silver stored by the Jing clan in the belly of the mountain. Gu Chunsha naturally would not let them go. He took them all and sent them into the sphere to become the wealth of the Celestial Calmness Department. The revenue of the Celestial Calmness Department accounted for 80 to 90% of the world's finances. With this kind of tax revenue, the Yanko would be able to build schools everywhere. At the same time, it would train officials and the army, expand the country's territory, and prosper. Seeing that Governor Han Wuqin was pitifully weak compared to the Jing clan, Gu Qinsha knew that the Yanko's government system needed to be strengthened. The Jing clan had almost caused a disaster this time. If the Wu clan, Legalism, Lei clan, Hung clan, and Fan clan, or any of the other sage clans had acted at the same time, or even just one of them, the matter would have been extremely troublesome. The imperial court would not have been able to suppress it. After all, the Yanko had only truly unified the world in the 21st century. Although the government system was perfect, it was far from being able to compare to the 1,000-year-old clans. Jing Fanqing, how do you feel now? Gu Qinsha looked at Jing Fanqing, who had become an ordinary fool. I won't kill you for now. When the government comes to arrest you, I'll punish you and see who can save you. The current Jing Fanqing was not even comparable to the heavenly sacrifice talisman he had received 6 or 7 years ago. Damn it, Gu Qinsha, don't get too full of yourself. Jing Fanqing was extremely resentful. The hatred in his heart was enough to drown the heavens and earth. Your celestial calmness department won't get any benefits either. I know that you used your magic power to create clones to assassinate many of the leaders of the celestial calmness department. Alas, it's useless. Can you still sense your magic power clones? We've already eliminated them. How could Gu Qinsha not have calculated this move? Gu Qinsha, as long as you don't kill me, I can still recover my strength. You're underestimating the Black Heaven Earth Gate's power. Jing Fanqing spoke weakly, as if he was having a nightmare. Very well. I actually hope that the Black Heaven Earth Gate will save you and help you recover your magic power at all costs. That way, I'll absorb your power again to feed my heavenly demon tree. Gu Qinsha patted Jing Fanqing's face, which was red and swollen. Jing Fanqing felt a piercing pain, and with a furious roar, he pounced at Gu Qinsha. However, as he pounced, he tripped over a rock and fell to the ground. His forehead was bruised, and fresh blood flowed out. I've really become a normal person. A normal person. Jing Fanqing was truly dumbfounded at this moment. Walking unsteadily, tripping over a rock, and falling to the ground to bleed. This was something that would not happen to a person with a bit of martial arts training, yet it had actually happened to him. The moment he was born, he was a top talent and had extraordinary strength. He was sent to the Black Heaven Earth Gate to cultivate and had always been high above. He had never experienced such a thing before. A moment ago, he was at the Tao Realm 22 transformation, phenomenon of heaven and earth. He could fly in the air and use spells to form all things, but now he couldn't even walk properly. Even a small hooligan on the streets could beat him up. The difference was just too huge. Gu Qinsha looked at the changes in Jing Fanqing's emotions and laughed coldly. His body moved, turning into dust and leaving this place. He didn't bother about Jing Fanqing anymore. These disciples had all become stupid and couldn't even pick up blades. They were just a bunch of chickens. He would leave the rest to Han Wuqin. He wanted to capture and kill Jing Fanqing, but now he changed his mind. He only used the banished celestial technique to extract his bloodline and power. He wanted to fish, so he drilled into the mountain and returned to the governor's manor. Governor Han Wuqin had already given out many orders. At the same time, he gathered the generals to discuss matters. It was already nighttime when he waited for Han Wuqin to finish, so he wasn't in a rush. At that moment, Han Wuqin walked in and knelt down on one knee. King, I have already arranged the troops, bailiffs, and constables in the entire Jing State City. I have also contacted 6 stores, arrest division, blood iron guards, and other government agencies to monitor the Jing family. But I suspect that there are spies from the Jing family among them. It is okay. It is time to clean them up. Gu Qinsha did not think much of it. In the face of great power, these things were nothing. He could use this opportunity to purge a group of traitors who were disloyal to the imperial court. Order General Huidi of Chongding residents to go to the nearby mountain and capture Jing Fanxing and the Jing family's disciples. Jing Fanxing has been crippled by me, and all the Jing family's disciples have lost their martial arts. Yes. Han Wuqin was delighted and hurried out to give the orders. The rest depends on whether Zhuge Ye can capture Jingqiu. Also, I wonder who the reincarnation of Xing Chen will be in the Jing family? Gu Chensha was thinking about these things. About 2 hours later, a voice suddenly came from outside. Blood Iron Guard's commander in Jing State, Tian Kong, requests to see King. Come in. Gu Chensha frowned. The Blood Iron Guard belonged to the Blood Iron Marquis. It was the highest and most mysterious supervisory agency of the imperial court. Before the Calming Immortal Bureau, the Blood Iron Guard was responsible for arresting Dao realm experts among the people. They even monitored immortal Dao experts, arresting criminal officials of the imperial court. The Blood Iron Guard had a commander's residence in every state. The person in charge of the commander's residence was the commander of the army. His status was equal to that of the governor, but he wasn't controlled by the governor. He also supervised the governor and kept them in check. At the door, a person walked in. This person was wearing a suit of armor. He was tall and burly and had an explosive strength. The armor he was wearing was actually the Great Dragon armor. There were countless runes carved on it, and it was constantly gathering spiritual qi. Your Highness, this subordinate is the Iron Blood Guard's Jing Prefecture's Marshal Tian Kong. My armor is on and it's inconvenient for me to participate. Please forgive me, Your Highness. This person clasped his fists without any etiquette, causing Gu Chensha to frown. If he was wearing a full suit of armor, he definitely wouldn't be able to bow. However, he was wearing the Great Dragon armor. The armor could shrink and shrink freely. There was no such thing as inconvenience. This was the arrogance of the Blood Iron Guard's Jing State commander. Why are you looking for me? Gu Chensha asked. King, this subordinate would like to ask why Han Wuqin gave the order to capture all the Jing family disciples. I didn't receive any orders from above. It seems that King can't act arbitrarily for such a big movement. You have to send a report to the imperial court, discuss it in the study room, and have the crown prince issue the royal seal. Tian Kang's tone actually had a hint of questioning in it. So you don't agree to capture the Jing family disciples? Gu Chensha smiled. Jing Fanxing tried to assassinate me. The evidence is conclusive. The Jing family rebelled and created chaos under the heavens. The evidence is also conclusive. This case will be handled by my Calming Immortal Department. Do you have any objections? The Calming Immortal Department deals with external affairs. As for the internal affairs of the Imperial Court, it will be handled by us, the Blood Iron Guard. In short, I still hope that King will follow the Imperial Court's procedures and submit the evidence of the Jing family's rebellion to the Imperial Court for them to decide. The Calming Immortal Department may be powerful, but you can't break the law and act unscrupulously. Tian Kong spoke with justice. Chapter 367. Anger appeared on Tian Kang's face. Your Highness, are you trying to frame me as well? What do you mean by frame you as well? Gu Chensha grasped the flaw in Tian Kang's words. From what you're saying, I am framing the Jing clan. It's still the same thing. If your Highness wants to arrest the Jing clan, you must present the evidence to the Imperial Court. Then, the Imperial Court's upper study will make a public decision and the 3 courts will hold a joint hearing before convicting them. This is the judicial procedure set by the Emperor and is also the foundation of the Imperial Court's order. Your Highness and the Calming Immortal Department cannot destroy this foundation. Otherwise, if the nobles blindly follow suit, wouldn't the world be in chaos? Countless examples from the previous dynasty have proven this point. Your Highness must not do anything that goes against the grain. Tian Kong acted like a loyal subject admonishing him, his tone becoming louder and louder. Go against the grain? It was clearly the Jing clan that caused chaos in the world and almost plunged Jing Prefecture into a sea of blood. Why did you say that it was this prince and the calming immortal department that caused chaos? Is this how the Iron Blood Marquis taught you? Gu Chencha's gaze became sharp. Tian Kong did not budge an inch. I am the Iron Blood Guard's commander-in-chief in Jing Prefecture. I supervise the officials and the aristocratic families. The Calming Immortal Department's Merchant Association is also under the Iron Blood Guard's supervision. Now that Your Highness cannot produce any evidence, you want to mobilize the troops with the governor to destroy a large aristocratic family. This will definitely put the people of Jing Prefecture in danger. My Iron Blood Guard will definitely not stand by and do nothing. We swear to stop it with our lives. Stop it? Stopping the imperial court from encircling the rebels is considered a rebel and will be killed without mercy. Gu Chensha waved his hand, stepped down. I have already explained to you that the Jing clan is rebelling. You better know your place. Your Highness, I have also said that if Your Highness is stubborn, I will stop it with my blood. Tian Kong said righteously, if the Jing clan is really rebelling, I will also stop it with my blood. I didn't expect to meet a loyal and filial son here. Gu Chensha smiled. Unfortunately, your blood cannot be compared to the blood of the commoners of Jing Prefecture and the entire world. The Jing clan's rebellion will cause a chain reaction. The world will be in turmoil, and who knows how much blood will be shed. You cannot stop it and will instead be an accomplice to the world. How dare you compare your insignificant life with the lives of all the commoners and officials in Jing province? If it weren't for Zhuge Ye and Gu Chensha, Jing Qiu's rebellion would not only have affected Jingzhou, but also the neighboring prefectures. Millions of people would have been killed or injured. Your Highness, I have ordered that the Jingzhou troops are not allowed to take any action. I have also reported to the Imperial Court. By now, the Imperial Court should know about this matter. The Crown Prince, Imperial Concubine Ming, and many ministers of the upper study room will have countermeasures. Tian Kong sneered, Your Highness, don't act rashly. Otherwise, don't blame me for offending you. Very good, another traitor. Gu Chensha sighed, then, I can only let you be like Jing Fanqing. Your strength has reached Dao Realm Transformation 7, and you can leave the ground and fly into the air. He could be considered a top talent. He was more than qualified to be the commander of Jingzhou. But you colluded with the Jing family to try to hide it and drag time. That is unforgivable. When the Xiantian energy in your body rotates, it actually carries a chaotic aura. This is Jing Qiu's world flipping fist. He helped you break through from Dao Realm Transformation 6 to Transformation 7. When Tian Kong heard this, his expression changed and he laughed coldly. Your Highness, if you want to blame someone, you can find any excuse. Gu Chensha used the banishing celestial technique and was about to suck away all of Tian Kang's strength to turn him into a fool. Your Highness, please show mercy. At that moment, a voice rang out. Then, a large flag appeared in the courtyard and dispersed into magic power. The magic power gathered and formed a human figure. This person had an aura of iron and blood. It was a middle-aged man, the Iron Blood Marquis. Dao Realm 22 Transformations, Astronomical Phenomenon, Iron Blood War Flag. Gu Chensha nodded his head, as expected from the reincarnation of the ancient war god. Although he hasn't activated all of his strength, it is just a matter of time. Your Highness, please show mercy. Tian Kong might have been blinded and he definitely didn't join in the rebellion. The Iron Blood Marquis cupped his fists. Moreover, Your Highness should have followed the law and reported it to the Crown Prince. Since the Iron Blood Marquis said that, then I would like to argue. The main goal of the law is to maintain justice, to be fair, to avoid killing and to get rid of evil. If not for us attacking first, who would be able to stop Jing Qiu's bloodbath? Even if you are the reincarnation of the war god, you are no match for Jingqiu. If we followed the law, the world would already be in chaos. This shows the weakness of the law. Since that is the case, then we have to change it. Since ancient times there were no eternal laws, only eternal justice and fairness. The Iron Blood Marquis can't give up on the basic. For the rules of the law, we can give up on the people of a few states. That is a foolish way of thinking. His Majesty bestowed the medallion on us, giving us the authority to act arbitrarily. This is to prevent bureaucratic inflexibility, which might cause major problems. Gu Qinsha was in the mood to argue with the Iron Blood Marquis. Now that the situation was set, all that was left was for Zhuge Ye to capture Jingqiu, strip him of his abilities, and reduce him to a mortal. Although Jingqiu was strong and had many trump cards, the innate numinous treasures, the central Earth Great Virtue Banner, and the North Star bloodline were taken away. These treasures melted into the depths of the common people's wish sphere, allowing the sphere's cultivation to reach near consummation. Not only did it save at least 100 years of evolution, but many people in the sphere also benefited greatly. This was especially so for Gu Qinsha, who had obtained Jing Fanxing's cultivation and bloodline, which also contained the Azure Dragon bloodline, tossed them into the depths of the sphere. This way, the Azure Dragon, White Tiger, Vermilion Bird, Black Tortoise, and North Star bloodlines gathered in the sphere. These bloodlines would form a power that could change the world. Your Highness, what you said is your philosophy. I have my own as well. In the matters of the Imperial Court, the words of the calming Immortal Bureau don't count, neither do I. The Emperor has the final say. The Iron Blood Marquis sighed. Also, the Emperor has already appointed the Crown Prince, the foundation of the Empire. Even a king has to listen to the Crown Prince's wishes. If not, it wouldn't be a blessing for the Empire. Is that so? Gu Qinsha coldly stared at the Iron Blood Marquis. Without a doubt, the 3 dukes and 8 marquises of the Imperial Court were truly loyal to the Heavenly Talisman Emperor. Now that the Heavenly Talisman Emperor had appointed the Crown Prince, they would naturally support the Crown Prince. However, Gu Qinsha and Liu Baiyue both knew that this was the Heavenly Talisman Emperor's doing. Regardless of Wu Dangkong or Gu Xiansha, they were just being used. The true core was still the calming Immortal Bureau. However, it was hard to say this out loud. In that case, the Iron Blood Marquis also wants to stop this king from acting against the Jing clan? The calming Immortal Bureau is already established, there's nothing I can do to stop it. The Iron Blood Marquis smiled bitterly. I only hope that your Highness would prioritize the Empire and not allow the world to be torn apart again. What a joke. Gu Qinsha waved his hands. Iron Blood Marquis, when Wu Dangkong was ruining the Imperial Court, you didn't say anything. Now that the calming Immortal Bureau is suppressing the evil, you actually came out to say such words? Are you afraid that we brothers would fight amongst ourselves and cause chaos in the world? This subordinate doesn't dare to. The Iron Blood Marquis was taken aback. Gu Qinsha's words were too harsh. This subordinate didn't mean it that way. This subordinate is loyal to the Emperor and the Imperial Court. There's no falsehood in my words. He suddenly felt an immense pressure. In the past, he had always thought that the calming Immortal Bureau was merely a little trick played by the princes. But when he heard Gu Qinsha's words, he finally understood. Unknowingly, the calming Immortal Bureau had already become a colossus. I know that. Gu Qinsha didn't want to make things difficult for the Iron Blood Marquis. Let the calming Immortal Bureau deal with the Jing family matter. After all, Jing Fanxing tried to assassinate me. As for what the Crown Prince and the upper study room thinks, they won't care. Since that is the case, then I understand. The Iron Blood Marquis bowed and brought Tian Kong away. Tian Kong was now at Dao Realm Transformation 7 and was an important talent in the Iron Blood Guards. Naturally, the Iron Blood Marquis couldn't bear to let Gu Qinsha trash him just like that. Gu Chunsha also gave the Iron Blood Marquis face. The Iron Blood Marquis flew up and landed in the Jingzhou City Iron Blood Guards camp. Only then did he place Tian Kong down. Marquis, this matter. Tian Kong was about to say something when the Iron Blood Marquis said, "Kneel. Put on." Tian Kong knelt on the ground. This time the Jing family is plotting a rebellion. You were tempted by that Jing Qiu, and you have lost all the face of the Iron Blood Guard. The Iron Blood Marquis scolded. This subordinate is muddle-headed. Tian Kong didn't dare to retort. Many things are about to happen. The Iron Blood Marquis frowned. The calming celestial department has become a giant and the Emperor has chosen a crown prince. We are in trouble. What is there to worry about, Iron Blood Marquis? At that moment someone appeared. He had a long beard and was wearing a stone-green robe. Marquis Dashi. The Iron Blood Marquis stood up. Please teach me about the current situation. A few days ago, Marquis Zhenhai broke free from the 19th Highness and suppressed the demon region. You know what happened. The 19th Highness planted the Heaven Demon Tree and absorbed the monsters. In the end, the monsters were terrified and didn't dare to come out. Marquis Dashi said. From then on, Marquis Zhenhai recognized the calming celestial department and the 19th Highness. Actually, all of us are old and the calming celestial department should be the pillar of the dynasty. The Lord of Seven Stars, Zhuge Ye alone, is more important than all of us combined. The Emperor has chosen a crown prince. No matter what the Emperor thinks, the crown prince is the center of the world and the imperial court. No matter how strong the calming celestial department is, it's only a supporting force, said the Iron Blood Marquis. Eldest brother, I don't think I'm wrong. You're wrong. If the Emperor wanted the crown prince to rule the world, he wouldn't have allowed Wu Dankong to oversee the nation. From ancient times until now, when the Emperor wasn't around, the crown prince oversaw the nation. That's the correct path. Marquis Dashi said, we have to listen to the Emperor's intentions. What does the Emperor mean? The Iron Blood Marquis frowned. The Emperor means to revitalize the nation's destiny. We will follow whoever can do that, said Marquis Dashi. From the looks of it, neither the Crown Prince nor Wu Dankong can do it. Only the calming celestial department can. Eldest brother, I understand. The Iron Blood Marquis thought for a moment, then sighed. Chapter 368. Zhuge Ye used the 7-star prayer art, and a 7-star lamp appeared above his head. No matter what kind of attack it was dissolved into nothingness. This Dao technique was a heaven-defying technique. In ancient times, Jiang Gongwang had used this technique to defend against the Divine Continent's #1 fiend, Xing Qiong, time and time again. This technique was known as the 7 Stars of Prayer, granting one an inexhaustible life force. The life and death of the 7 Star Lords, the Southern Dipper and Northern Dipper, revolved around each other. Life and death in a single thought. Jing Qiu used his Dao Realm 25 transformation Undying Body to activate his self-created world Flipping Fist. When he struck out, the sky collapsed and the earth sank. Zhuge Ye, on the other hand, was steadily guarding Jing Qiu, using his dense magical power and divine arts to protect himself, slowly dissolving Jing Qiu's power. No matter how Jing Qiu attacked, he could not touch him at all. And every attack from Jing Qiu was absorbed by the central flag of great virtue of the earth, becoming the driving force of the will of the common people. In other words, each of Jing Qiu's punches was actually strengthening the life's wish sphere. The interior of the sphere of the life's wish had undergone a massive change. Gu Chunsha inserted the 5 dragon creation pills and the talisman formed from Jing Fanqing's magic power and bloodline into the life's wish sphere. All of this power was absorbed by the touch of Ghost and God Tree. Jing Fanqing had the Azure Dragon bloodline in it. Gu Chunsha had absorbed a portion of it, and the rest had been infused into the Ghostly Touch Tree. Coupled with all of Jing Fanqing's powers, the touch of ghost and god tree actually blossomed with fresh flowers in an incomparably alluring manner. The fragrance of the flowers filled the entire world, making people feel as if they were walking on clouds. Then, the flowers withered and fell into the ground, adding a new layer of vitality to the earth. Every time Jingqiu attacked, the great desolate world within the common people's wish sphere would infuse some energy into it, causing the essence energy within the great desolate world to surge. The touch of the ghostly god tree was slowly digesting the North Star, azure dragon, white tiger, vermilion bird, and black tortoise bloodlines. The sphere's wriggling increased in speed, and every time it wriggled, it absorbed a large amount of elemental energy from the depths of the void. Jingqiu, none of your killer moves are useful to me. Instead, they are helping to speed up the condensation of the sphere. I have to thank you. With every attack you make, the connection between the central Wu Tu Great Virtue flag and the sphere becomes closer. Zhuge Ye was observing Jingqiu's changes. He was in no hurry. In any case, he was already in an invincible position. Zhuge Ye, you are ruthless. Jingqiu's entire body was filled with murderous intent. He continued to attack with his fists like a violent storm. In between the attacks, boundless power once again surged forth. No matter how ruthless I am, I'm still not as ruthless as Mr. Jingqiu. Mr. Jingqiu didn't hesitate to spill the blood of the world in order to comprehend the divergent realm and obtain benefits at the same time. I can't be that ruthless. By the way, let me tell you that Jing Fanqing has already been stripped of all his magic power and bloodline by King Chen's banishing immortals. He's now an ordinary person. I didn't kill him, but the traps you've set up in Jing Province have all been accepted by the Celestial Pacification Department. The wealth you've accumulated over the years is truly astonishing. With your cultivation and 100 years of accumulation, the Celestial Pacification Department has really made a killing this time. Zhuge Ye transformed the events in Jing Province into thoughts and transmitted them directly to Jingqiu. Jingqiu knew that his 100 years of planning had come to naught. Not only that, but the entire Jing clan would be annihilated. Only he knew how many treasures he'd plundered and how many pills he'd stockpiled in the depths of various secret camps in Jing Province. His magic power was so powerful that even the old antiques wouldn't be able to discover the formations he'd set up. In the entire world, there weren't many people more powerful than him. The Celestial Pacification Department is impressive. I've lost this time. Jingqiu suddenly stopped. He knew that no matter what he did, he wouldn't be able to break through Zhuge Ye's defenses. However, Zhuge Ye, I'm afraid it won't be that easy for you to kill me today. I know you still have a trump card. What is it? Let me see. Zhuge Ye was intrigued. Aren't you known for your flawless plans? Jingqiu's eyes were sharp, and he no longer looked refined. Then why don't you calculate what other trump cards I have? Since you're testing me, Mr. Jingqiu, I'll naturally comply. Why wouldn't I agree to your dying request? Zhuge Ye looked at Jingqiu with a smile. Suddenly, the 7-star lamp above his head emitted a dazzling radiance that shone at Jingqiu. A faint purple light flashed across Jingqiu's body. The Myrtle Imperial Star. Just as I thought, my calculations were correct. One of the members of the Jing clan will be reincarnated, and it turns out to be the Myrtle Imperial Star. And you, Jingqiu, actually stole the destiny of the reincarnated member of the Jing clan. The Myrtle Imperial Star is a star that contains the aura of a monarch, and is the king of divination. Although it's only a single star, it's incredibly powerful. It's almost as powerful as the Lord of 6 Stars, if not more. It's very difficult for you to fuse with it, so you rebelled and founded a kingdom. That way, you'll be able to use the aura of a monarch to slowly fuse the profound mysteries of the Myrtle Imperial Star into your own magic power. Zhuge Ye's expression was very serious. Ha 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 ha. You really are the Lord of 7 Stars. I can't believe you figured out my secret. Jing Qiu suddenly began to laugh maniacally. A violet star suddenly appeared above his head. It seemed to be the king of all kings, and it emanated boundless majesty. Be broken! The enormous star trembled. A ripping sound could be heard as it tore through the earth-yellow lotus clouds. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Jing Qiu suddenly transformed into a streak of light that shot out of the blockade. In a flash, he was gone. Zhuge Ye didn't pursue him. Instead, he sank into thought. So, the Myrtle Imperial Star appeared in the Jing clan? It seems Jing Qiu isn't crazy. He really did peer into the future and see the destiny of the Jing clan. He has the aura of a monarch. Mr. Zhuge, it seems you weren't able to kill Jing Qiu. Leaving him alive will only lead to endless trouble. At this moment, Wu Dangkong appeared. She had been hiding in the sun-moon altar the entire time, watching the battle. Right now, her body was just an incarnation of magic power. Her true body was still inside the sun-moon altar. That was just in case. That way, she wouldn't die. She wasn't like Gu Chensha, who didn't have incarnations. The heavenly Tao changes. Even I can't predict the future. Zhuge Ye was silent for a while. When the Myrtle Imperial Star appears, the universe will definitely be in chaos. This star is so powerful that even I can't underestimate it. If Jing Qiu really refines the profound meaning of this star and fuses it with his magic power, it will be difficult to kill him. However, he hasn't built a country yet, so there's no rush. This star is both an opportunity and a disaster. Mr. Zhuge, I want that Imperial Star. What do you think? Wu Dangkong was already drooling. Now that Jing Qiu has escaped, I can't do anything to him for now. Zhuge Ye frowned. Fortunately, he's still under my control. Mr. Zhuge, you're so confident. Wu Dangkong thought. Jing Qiu is an expert with the undying body of 25 transformations. If he advances again, he'll be even more terrifying. He lost the central Wutu Great Virtue Flag, a primordial spiritual treasure, and we obtained the North Star bloodline. That's a big loss. Zhuge Ye looked into the distance. With this primordial spiritual treasure, we can refine it into the common people's wish sphere. The sphere will have the aura of a primordial spiritual treasure, and it will be easy to advance. Just based on this point alone, he no longer has any possibility of turning the tables. Mr. Zhuge is indeed powerful. This time, I originally thought that Jing Qiu's rebellion would cause Jingzhou to bleed and the world to be in chaos, but Mr. Zhuge resolved the crisis with a flip of his hand. Wu Dangkong said, "In this way, I don't dare to go against Mr. Zhuge anymore." "Why go against him?" Zhuge Ye smiled. "If you and I work together, we can scheme against the Black-Yellow Dragon Emperor again. We can sacrifice all the Emperor's energy that his Great Wei dynasty has painstakingly accumulated. We can obtain the power within. I guarantee that you can become an expert like a god in a short time. You'll be stronger than many of the ancient emperors. After all, the ancient population was sparse. Even if the world was unified, there wasn't much emperor's energy. It was far from the current Great Wei dynasty. Then everything depends on Mr. Zhuge." This time, Wu Dangkong finally knew how powerful Zhuge Ye was. "Alright, I have a question that I would like to ask you for some advice. Is it because the sacrificial token is different from the ancient records? Is it because you're not born a saint, but you've obtained the sacrificial token?" Zhuge Ye already knew what Wu Dangkong wanted to ask. Wu Dangkong did not speak. He just looked at Zhuge Ye. "Actually, all of this is part of the Emperor's plan. I can only tell you that the first person to obtain this token was King Chen." A bright light suddenly appeared on top of Zhuge Ye's head. Sun and moon shine together. "You also know the Emperor's God sealing technique? How is that possible?" Wu Dangkong was taken aback. "According to the rumors, isn't it said that only those who have this talisman can use it? When this token leaves, the cultivation technique also leaves. Wait, what did you just say? The first person to obtain this token was Gu Chensha? That's right. Zhuge Ye's eyes seemed to see through Wu Dankong. His voice was full of charm. Times have changed. The heavenly Tao has been distorted. The sacrificial token itself is a channel for the heavenly Tao to communicate with all things. The control of this channel is no longer in the hands of the heavenly Tao. Do you really think that the Emperor did not suppress the heavenly Tao? In the future, according to the trajectory of the heavenly Tao, it has completely changed. The Emperor used his boundless power to change everything. No one can see the real future. What the hell is going on? Am I not the future Emperor? Wu Dankong's confidence seemed to have been completely destroyed. Chapter 369. Jing Qiu used the Myrtle Imperial Star to escape the seal. This disrupted some of the Department of Tranquility's plans and left a hidden danger. If this undying body of the Venerable Tao Realm expert of the 25th transformation went all out and assassinated him, it would be very difficult. Even the Life's Wish Sphere wouldn't be able to take care of it. Jing Qiu couldn't be compared to Jing Fanqing. Zhuge Ye would naturally know that Jing Fanqing had sent a magic avatar to assassinate him. He would then use the power of the Life's Wish Sphere to sweep the avatar away and use it as nourishment. Jing Qiu could use the Myrtle Imperial Star to break the seal, giving him the ability to kill before the sphere was activated. Zhuge Ye had to think of another way to deal with this. He had revealed some secrets to Wu Dankong to greatly intimidate Wu Dankong. He wanted to let this woman know that it wasn't her destiny, but that the heavenly Tao had been distorted. As expected, Wu Dankong fell into deep thought. Mr. Zhuge, since that's the case, I'll take my leave. From now on, our Wu family will have no contact with the Jing family. Wu Dankong expressed her stance. She was extremely wary of Zhuge Ye. Farewell, Your Highness. Zhuge Ye watched Wu Dankong leave, then disappeared in a flash. Gu Chensha also returned to the Life's Wish Sphere. He could leave the Jing province matter to his subordinate. In any case, Jing Qiu had already been defeated, Jing Fanqing's magic power and bloodline had been destroyed, and all the treasures in the Jing family's secret camps had been swept away by the Department of Tranquility. Even if Jing Qiu returned, the losses wouldn't be too great. At this time, Gu Chensha felt that he had to make a plan to get rid of Jing Qiu. In the center of the primordial world inside the Life's Wish Sphere, the touch of Ghost God Tree had already covered a radius of several hundred kilometers. Its roots had seeped into many corners of the ground, stabilizing the earth. The 28 evil spirits formed in the tree were wrapped in the giant star egg, evolving into the appearances of the 28 Fey celestial sovereigns. After absorbing all of Jing Fanqing's magic power, the touch of Ghost God Tree had accelerated its evolution under the nourishment of the Wutu Great Virtue flag. It's a pity that we couldn't take down Jing Qiu. His magic power is more than 100 times greater than Jing Fanqing's. Fuse him with the touch of the demon and god, and the tree will immediately evolve into a heavenly demon tree. When that happens, it will be extraordinary. Zhuge Ye stood under the tree and sighed. Mr. Zhuge, Jing Qiu can't refine the Myrtle Imperial Star in such a hurry, right? Lu Baiwe also knew everything. He used the Myrtle Imperial Star as a Dharma treasure and cultivated bitterly. Although he broke our seal, he must have consumed a lot of energy, right? He doesn't have time to do evil for now. Zhuge Ye nodded. He engraved his magic power into the Myrtle Imperial Star's profound mysteries in an attempt to refine it over time. To do so, he accumulated a lot of power in the Myrtle Imperial Star and was reluctant to take it out. It was only when I forced him into a corner that he took it out. But in this case, his refinement of the Myrtle Imperial Star's mysteries would be for naught, and he would have to start all over again. Unfortunately, it's the same for me. I've only managed to sense the power of the world-burying coffin after accumulating it for a very long time. I've only managed to use it once, but it's much more difficult to use it again. It's a good thing that we managed to recoup our losses with interest. This time, we've reaped a bountiful harvest. Jean Suebois revolved his body, and a scene of the universe appeared above his head. The 5 stars were aligned, rotating and circulating with each other, representing Jean Suebois' perfection. Jean Suebois had also obtained the 5 major bloodlines, which he fused into his own spiritual power. Now that his lawful embodiment of heaven and earth level was even more complete, he began to think about breaking through to the 23 transformations, past reflection. However, this realm involved time. From ancient times until now, the most profound secret of time was not to reverse time, but to use magic power to see and sense. Reversing time and returning to the past was something that not even the 3 great Empyreans could do. The past was the foundation of the present, and if one could truly go back to the past, then the foundation of the present would be destroyed. It was the same as having the power to cause the universe to return to chaos. Who knew how unbelievably strong that power would be? The 23 transformations, past reflection, and the 24 transformations, future reflection, meant comprehending the secret of time. Such usage of magic power was far from what the 22 transformations, lawful embodiment of heaven and earth, could compare to. With the same talent, the 22 transformations would be crushed by the 23 transformations. The usage of magic power was on a completely different level. For example, if the 22 transformations, lawful embodiment of heaven and earth, was a wooden sword, then the 23 transformations, past reflection, would be a black iron sword. If one touched it, it would instantly break. The nature of time wasn't simple, and comprehending it had a huge risk. If one wasn't careful, one's will would be lost in the river of time. One would lose control of one's magic power and explode into dust. After one cultivated magic power, one would be like a giant barrel of gunpowder. If one lost control, one's magic power would explode and one's soul would be destroyed. The higher one's cultivation, the more one would be walking on thin ice. One had to control one's strength well, otherwise one would definitely die. This was a rule. There wasn't a situation where the stronger one was, the safer and more relaxed one would be. The gains and losses of the Tao were all within this. In the past, Gu Chernsha could kill enemies 7 to 8 realms higher than him, but now he felt that killing the 22 transformations, lawful embodiment of heaven and earth, was his limit. It would be tough for him to deal with experts at the 23 transformations, past reflection. Of course, he was at the 19 transformations, size manipulation, and he hadn't cultivated magic power. If he cultivated to the 20 transformations, then things would be totally different. But Gu Chernsha still needed to accumulate for a period of time, so he wasn't in a rush. He would raise his golden pellet and body to a higher level. When he trained, he would be able to control it as he wished. The stronger one was, the more precise one would have to be. Gu Chernsha didn't want to learn from Jing Fanxing and rush things. He wanted to forcefully raise his cultivation, which would lead to many problems. If he used the power of the common people's wish ball, he could forcefully break through and merge his golden pellet and body together, turning it into magic power. But that would be bad for his future comprehension. Originally, Gu Chernsha was training in the demon region and wanted to accumulate a lot before breaking through to golden pellet. But he was assassinated, and after Zhuge Ye tricked Wu Dankong into performing a ceremony, he broke through. But even then, his foundations weren't stable and it was a little weak. He knew that he had to do his best to strengthen it now. Moreover, he had a deeper understanding of the Tao of Divergent after these days of comprehension, so he wasn't in a hurry. Jing Qiu is a huge, unstable factor. Lu Baiyue's cultivation had also improved greatly. She had also obtained the bloodlines of North Star, azure dragon, white tiger, vermilion bird, and black tortoise. They circulated in her body, and she began to cultivate and comprehend further. Jing Qiu has failed this time. Not only does he have to hide and lick his wounds, he also has to guard against some things. After all, it's not that easy to take the things of those big shots behind him. Zhuge Ye thought of many new strategies. I think there's someone who will be very interested in Jing Qiu. We just have to keep an eye on him in the dark. Maybe we can get some benefit. Who? The fourth asked. Fa Wuxian. Zhuge Ye spat out 3 words. This man has the aptitude of a born sage. He was originally the most outstanding one among the younger generation in the Divine Land. Unfortunately, since I was born, he has lost his brilliance and has hidden himself. I don't know what he is preparing. In fact, this man has always wanted to kill me, but he is not sure. He had not appeared this year because he was comprehending a secret technique. Then, he would search for treasures outside in an attempt to amaze the world with a single brilliant feat. This was his best chance. If he could assassinate Jing Qiu and take the Myrtle Imperial Star, he would be able to do so. You'll have the capital to contend against me. Fa Wuxian shouldn't be able to do anything to Jing Qiu. Gu Qinsha asked, if I am right, Fa Wuxian's cultivation is at Dao Realm 22. He might be comprehending the secrets of time. Even a saint wouldn't be able to comprehend the secrets of time. One had to comprehend the changes in the world, such as birth, sickness, and death. Cultivating in the mountains was very difficult to comprehend because there was no sense of time in the mountains. Even if it had been 100 or 200 years, the scenery would still be the same. But in the human world, a mere 10 years could completely change the scenery. This was why in ancient times, after many celestials cultivated to the 22 transformations of Dao Realm, they would come to the human world and leave behind many legends. For example, there were many records of celestials playing in the human world, turning stone into gold, turning into animals, mountains, and using spells to play with evil people and bullies. Sometimes, celestials would even enter the court to explain the Tao to the emperor. All of this was to comprehend the secrets of time. In just a few decades, the world of mortals had changed. Things remained the same, but people had changed. Time changed so quickly that it was inconceivable. Therefore, even the ancient human sages gained enlightenment in the world of mortals. They passed down their ancestral teachings that the members of their families must live in the world of mortals and protect the human race. This was also the reason why many saint families lived in the human world. Fa Wuxian was still young. Even if he was a saint, he would need some time to comprehend the secrets of time. Fa Wuxian will definitely find Jing Qiu. Zhuge Ye said, King Chen, we will have to rely on you to capture Jing Qiu. Your mission is to keep a close eye on Jing Qiu and see what he can do. This is really dangerous. Qinsha isn't Jing Qiu's match. Lu Baiyue said. Chapter 370. As he spoke, Zhuge Ye's will moved again, and a secret message about the Myrtle Dipper entered the depths of Gu Chensha's mind. Gu Qinsha immediately comprehended it. Through the life's wish sphere, he looked at the starry sky in the real world, and then the Myrtle Imperial Star entered his eyes. With his current eyesight, even if it was daytime, he could clearly see these stars that had existed for an unknown number of years and months. They were permanently hanging in the sky, and each star seemed to contain layers of space-time, giving rise to endless changes. The power of the stars was almost limitless. They didn't seem dead, but alive. Or rather, they were manifesting their power due to some kind of change in the heavenly Tao. As for the Myrtle Imperial Star, the power contained within it was greater than any of the other stars. It had the majesty of an emperor, and it was unfathomable. It seemed that only peerless kings could win the Myrtle Imperial Star's favor. Stars filled the sky. Some of them were small, while others were large. Just like humans, there were countless living beings. Some were weak, while others could overturn rivers and seas. They manipulated the heavenly Tao, created life and death, and created new worlds. In the blink of an eye, a speck of dust could transform into a vast universe. The difference in the power of the stars was even greater. In Gu Chencha's eyes, some stars were only a few times the size of the divine continent, while some ancient stars were boundless and majestic. The Myrtle Imperial Star was neither too big nor too small among the many stars, but its aura was unique. The entire star was surrounded by a purple aura, and in the deepest depths there seemed to be a mysterious power wriggling, as if it was connected to another world. The Myrtle Imperial Star and the Immortal Realm were inextricably linked. It was as if the entire star was a passageway to the Immortal Realm. Gu Chensha used his star power slightly, and a wisp of starlight pierced through the air, gathering in his hand and forming a small talisman. This talisman was purple, and it was the power of the Myrtle Imperial Star's stars. When this power gathered, it was 50% similar to immortal Qi. Gu Chensha now knew that the so-called spiritual realm and immortal realm were just names. The spiritual realm was a huge dimension, and that dimension was filled with spiritual Qi. The immortal realm was the same, except that it was filled with immortal Qi. Logically speaking, cultivators below Tao Realm 19 shouldn't be able to absorb celestial energy and refine celestial energy. If one tried to absorb it, it would be like a mortal swallowing gold. It was a suicidal action. Only by cultivating magical power could one refine immortal energy. Unless he had mastered the Great Massacre God technique. It was the same for the Myrtle Imperial Star. Blade, come. Gu Chensha stretched out his hand and made a grabbing motion. A treasured saber flew over from afar. This saber was also made of 100 refinements profound steel, and it could cut through iron like mud. This was the wealth that he had obtained from the Jing clan's secret camp. On the market, this treasured saber was worth quite a bit of money. Holding the 100-tempered profound steel saber in his hand, Gu Chensha used the artifact refining technique and infused the crepe myrtle star power into the saber. But with a cracking sound, the blade crumbled into dust. It was actually unable to withstand the power of the Myrtle Imperial Star. As expected, the Myrtle Imperial Star's star power is really overbearing. Gu Chensha grabbed once more and the dust gathered. Under the condensation of his pill power, it turned into a Xian steel saber. He then used the star refining technique. At that moment, dozens of streaks of star power landed and gathered on the saber. They flowed and a rainbow light gathered, turning the saber into a star steel saber. The sharpness of the star steel saber could slay someone at Tao Opening Realm Transformation 3. Moreover, it had the power to destroy evil and wouldn't be corroded by demonic energy. There were billions of stars in the sky, and each star had its own unique power element. All the sects had the star refining technique. When the star power was combined, the strength of the treasures would be different too. Calming Celestial Department's usage of the star power far exceeded that of the Celestial Path Xianmen sect. This was because they comprehended the Son of Heaven God sealing technique, Great Massacre God technique, 10,000 star flying celestial technique, Sky Demon Book, and many other techniques left by Jiang Gongwang. Gu Chensha was especially good at using the star power to refine treasures, exorcise demons, cultivate, and build. He was now analyzing the characteristics of the Myrtle Imperial Star and using the Myrtle Do numerals. The Myrtle Imperial Star benefits the world. When the Emperor is angry, the universe bleeds. When the Emperor is virtuous, the people are grateful. Gu Chensha's fingertip circulated core qi. With another move, the Myrtle Imperial Star power evolved into a purple aura. It wasn't the characteristics of immortal energy, but it was similar to the Emperor's dragon energy and the aura of the Son of Heaven. This aura entered the star steel saber. The saber trembled 1,000 times and floated in the air like an emperor looking down on the world. Good! Zhuge clapped his hands. Your Highness grasped the secret of the Myrtle Doe numerals so quickly. To be able to transform the tyranny of the Myrtle Imperial Star into the gentle power of the benevolent Tao of the benevolent Emperor, it can be said that you understand the principle of celestial evolution. The Myrtle Imperial Star is indeed powerful. Even highly cultivated immortals might not be able to control its power. Gu Chensha meditated for a moment. I've already thoroughly understood the profound mysteries of the star. No wonder Jingqiu couldn't refine it. Then your Highness can track down Jingqiu. I've already used a secret art to disrupt your heavenly workings, making it impossible for Jingqiu to divine anything. Zhuge said, if your Highness can track down Jingqiu, and even have a chance to capture and kill him, then you'll definitely have the opportunity to comprehend the true secrets of Divergent. Perhaps it'll help me escape my fate as the Lord of Seven Stars. Although the Lord of Seven Stars was a sage monarch, she couldn't escape the fate of becoming one with the Tao. She couldn't escape the 3 realms and 5 elements. At most, she could cultivate to the 36 transformations, embodiment transformation. Zhuge wanted Gu Chensha to comprehend the realm of Divergent and point out a bright path for him. This was Gu Chensha's best chance. With my Tao realm cultivation of 19 transformations, I'll be able to hunt down an expert with a 25 transformations undying body. This has never happened before in all of history. Gu Chensha, on the other hand, was filled with excitement. If I succeed, then I'll have gained quite a bit. Your Highness, please go. I still need to fuse the Khanate Spirit Treasure, the Wutu Virtue Flag, into this sphere. At the same time, I hope it can stabilize my 5 bloodlines and recreate this minor world. Unfortunately, there's too little Azure Dragon bloodline. If there's enough, the Great Desolate World and the Ghost God Touch Tree will quickly grow. In less than a year, it'll be called a Heavenly Demon Tree. Zhuge waved his hand. Gu Chensha knew that the Azure Dragon was a Khanate wood spirit that controlled all types of wood. It would be extremely beneficial to the Heavenly Demon Tree. He leaped out of the sphere and returned to his land. He then used the Sun and Moon Talisman's invisibility talisman to hide his body and start to chase after Jingqiu. At this moment, Zhuge and the others in the Common People's Wish Sphere received a report. Jing Fanqing and some core members of the Jing family have all disappeared. It seems like they've been rescued. This was news from Yizheng. Yizheng was in charge of the Calming Celestial Bureau's attack on the Jing family. He was originally the Hell Serpent Temple's pope and had cultivated the 17th transformation, the Tao-splitting divine clone. But now, he had cultivated to the golden core of the great Tao and was extremely strong. He was vicious and merciless when he led the team to attack the Jing family. But just as he started to wipe out the entire family, all the core members of the Jing family disappeared. Without a doubt, they had been rescued by Jingqiu. As expected, but it doesn't matter. Gu Chensha also received this news. His mind was constantly connected to the Common People's Wish Sphere, so he knew all kinds of information like the back of his hand. Jing Fanqing, I'm still waiting for him to recover his strength. As he flew, he was already far away from the border, heading northwest. To the east of the Divine Continent was the eastern wastelands, filled with endless mountains. To the south was the wilderness, to the west was the ocean, and to the north was the boundless desert. The eastern wastelands was where the mystical sects of the Immortal Path resided. To the south was the barbarian tribe, and to the west were the many overseas countries. Across the vast ocean was the Great Might Dynasty in the west. As for the northern desert, it was mostly uninhabited. But in some of the very deep deserts, small countries had been established here and there were also merchants and adventurers who came and went, selling things like silk and porcelain to the desert countries. Because the desert was desolate, it was often yellow sand for thousands of miles. It was not like the barbarian forest, which was dangerous but rich in resources. So Yanko did not send troops to conquer the small countries deep in the desert. And at this moment, the direction in which Jing Qiu was fleeing was actually the depths of the desert in the northwest. Gu Chensha used the amethyst dipper divination to sense the profound meaning of the myrtle imperial star, and grasped the direction in which Jing Qiu was fleeing. He was extremely careful in his pursuit, because the further he went from his fief, the weaker his sense of the life's wish sphere. If he really entered the depths of the desert, he might not even be able to sense the sphere's existence. He flew quickly, but not only did he hide his body, he also became extremely small, like a speck of dust floating in the air, without the slightest aura. If it were any other expert, using the size of their physical body at will, changing it to an extremely large or small size, would consume a lot of the power of their Jindan, and they would not be able to maintain it for long. But Gu Chencha's Jindan power was extremely vigorous, and his body also had the bloodlines of the Sun-Moon Dragon, North Star Dragon, Azure Dragon, White Tiger, Vermilion Bird, Black Tortoise, and the Five Seasons deity. With all kinds of wondrous methods, his body was many times stronger than ordinary cultivators. His physical body could change in size for a shocking period, and it would not matter even if he could maintain the speck of dust for tens of days. Ordinary experts would only last for 2 hours before their Jindan power was exhausted. And more importantly, even if ordinary experts changed their size, it was difficult to hide the fluctuations of their Jindan power. But Gu Chencha's body had a space left behind by the heavenly grotto ritual, and all the Jindan and power were hidden in the depths of that space. This way, even Jing Qiu would not be able to discover it. This was his greatest reliance and method to hide from Jing Qiu. The rolling yellow sand, the blazing sun high up in the sky, could turn any living creature into withered bones. At this moment, Gu Chensha had truly become Chensha, and he blended with the yellow sand in the sky, becoming indistinguishable, making it even harder to discover him. Chapter 371. After flying for 3 days and 3 nights, Gu Chensha entered the depths of the desert. Looking down from high up in the sky, there were actually many oases in the desert. The desert oases were surrounded by lakes, date palms, and some desert rivers. If there was water, there would be life, and there were many cities and villages within the oases. All of them were quite orderly, and there were many soldiers riding on camels. This oasis has at least a few hundred cities connected to one another. There are tens of millions of people here, and it has already become a giant empire. There is actually such a faction in the desert? Gu Chensha was shocked. However, after flying out of the God continent and heading towards the northwest desert, it took him 3 days and 3 nights to reach this place. This wasn't something that a human could reach. With his current speed, he could probably travel 1,000 miles in an instant. The distance he flew in 3 days was enough for someone at the Tao Realm Transformation 7 to fly in the air to reach this place. This kind of speed was so far away from Great Yong that there wouldn't be any contact at all. The tens of millions of people could compare to the Great Yonko. It was the size of the Xian dynasty in the past. Jing Qiu's aura was in the largest oasis. The city in the oasis was majestic like a palace. Could it be that this huge desert empire was established by Jing Qiu? If that is the case, then this person really has the ambition to swallow the world. Gu Chensha was shocked. Gu Chensha arrived at the edge of the oasis. He didn't reveal his body and continued to hide. He didn't dare to get too close as he was afraid that Jing Qiu would notice him. In this oasis city there were many people and the country was strong. There were all sorts of craftsmen. Apart from that, there were also some strong barbarian race people. However, they didn't have evil energy and had been transformed into normal laborers. Of course, most of the people here were the natives of the desert. Moreover, There was an aura of culture, and all sorts of education, martial arts, culture, and techniques were all really complete. Originally, Gu Chunsha could have used the heaven's eye suspending technique to observe the situation of this empire in an instant. However, Jing Qiu was here. If he used such a method, he would be courting death. Outside the oasis, many people were digging ditches and building new cities. It was clear that the population had increased, and many cities could not hold people anymore, so they could only rebuild. These people used yellow sand and a kind of gelatinous substance to turn them into huge hard bricks, which made Gu Chunsha gasp in amazement. In this way, it would be very easy to build a city and houses. They were tall and majestic. In the desert, there is black oil that can be ignited. After refining, it can secrete all kinds of gelatin and oil. Gu Chunsha recalled some records. There were no trees in the desert, so it was impossible for people to gather firewood to cook. However, there was a type of black oil that could be used to light fires. This could be said to be a miracle of nature. The people here built cities and planted trees. Those trees were extremely drought-resistant plants. They could also bear fruits, which were rich in starch and could be used to make bread. Gu Chunsha had never seen this plant before. However, after taking a look, he knew that this plant had been nurtured with celestial magic power and was most suitable for the desert's climate. Moreover, it could stabilize water. Many people were in full swing building, planting, reclaiming, and creating oases in the desert. Unexpectedly, it was unprecedentedly simple. Suddenly, the sound of a bell rang out from a distant city. At that moment, hearing the sound of the bell, everyone immediately put down what they were doing and knelt on the ground, continuously worshipping and muttering piously. As soon as the bell rang, everyone, including the army, knelt down and started to pray. It did not seem like they had been brainwashed, but they were sincerely thanking God. In that instant, Gu Chunsha saw millions of people, no matter where they were, whether they were working or doing urgent work, put down everything, kneeled down, and prostrated themselves on the ground. He was shocked. The bell rang out 9 times, and after everyone formed the 3 kowtows and 9 kowtows, they muttered a strange scripture. At that moment, a dark cloud floated over in the sky, followed by crackling thunder, and it started to rain. Oh, oh, oh! Seeing this, everyone who had prayed cheered and yelled in a frenzied state. The downpour lasted for a full 15 minutes, drenching the desert. Everyone sang and danced in the rain, cheering and jumping, and a wave of vitality was brewing. Even though Gu Chunsha could not understand the language those people were shouting, the meaning was clear. God has shown himself, thank God. Magic? Create clouds and bring rain. Gu Chunsha could tell that the downpour and dark cloud had been caused by someone using a peerless magic, moving water from who knew how far away and turning it into a dark cloud before descending. Gu Chunsha also knew this kind of method, but it was not as exquisite and traceless. Moreover, there was a lack of water in this desert. Even though there were oases, lakes, and rivers, the water was not drawn from them but from the distant ocean, tens of thousands of kilometers away. No matter how powerful Gu Chunsha's astral energy was, he could not do this. This was evidently Jing Qiu's method. Let's see what is going on. Did Jing Qiu create a desert empire here? He used all sorts of spells to make people think that he is a god? Gu Chunsha, who had turned into a grain of sand, got close to an army general. He used his soul tentacle to search his soul and observe his memories. The general felt dizzy for a moment before returning to normal. Gu Chunsha, on the other hand, got what he wanted to know. With his current cultivation, he didn't need to pretend to be a normal person to ask for information. He could casually use his soul to search someone's memories, and it wouldn't cause any damage to them. If a Tao Realm 12 transformation soul snatching realm cultivator forcefully searched someone's mind or controlled them, it would cause damage to the soul of the person being controlled. It might even turn them into idiot. but Gu Chernsha had unknowingly stolen their memories. Even a golden core expert wouldn't be able to block him. Thinking about it, even someone like Jing Fanxing, who was at the 22 transformation divine phenomenon of heaven and earth, was easily reduced to a mortal, much less someone at the 18 transformation great Tao golden core? This place is called Sama Desert. 100 years ago, it split into many small cities and was scattered across many oases. A young man called Ironwood Khan received guidance from the god and built an army. He defeated many cities and built the strong Sama Empire. To thank the god, he built many temples and religions to serve the god. This religion is called Qiu religion. Gu Chernsha digested all the information in his mind. It was actually really simple. 100 years ago, Jing Qiu came here and gave pointers to a young man to build an empire and then worship his god. 100 years of influence, building a religion, expanding population, building cities, and expanding to such a stage in the depths of the desert. Originally, the desert lacked water and food, but with the spells of a celestial, all of that could be solved. This was especially so for someone like Jing Qiu, who had cultivated the undying body of the 25 transformations of the Tao realm. His magic power divine art was enough to move mountains tens of thousands of miles away. After understanding the situation here, Gu Chernsha was more and more shocked. This Jing Qiu is really talented. His methods of building a country are similar to my father's. Compared to him, Jing Fanxing is just a playboy. Jing Qiu and Jing Fanxing's talents were similar and they were both top geniuses. But what the two of them did was like the difference between heaven and earth. From this, one's talent didn't determine one's future achievements. A giant desert empire with tens of millions of people, a country with a religion. Everyone, from the nobles to the slaves, all believe in the god. Politics and religion are one. Gu Chernsha thought about it, looking at the situation where everyone worships him, everyone is united. That is quite amazing. Jing Qiu's ambition is really obvious. Here, Gu Chernsha was unable to sense the common people's wish ball. He had to be really careful, otherwise if Jing Qiu noticed him, he would definitely die. Jing Qiu built a giant empire in the desert. This place was far away from the godland and was a barren land. Although there was a lack of resources, it was good for development. Moreover, there were many treasures in the desert. In ancient times, the desert had fertile land, but things changed. There was black oil and all sorts of minerals underground. Mr. Zhuge said that I can only wait for a chance. Gu Chernsha dug into the ground and hid. Wait for Fa Wuxian and Jing Qiu to fight? Then, I will take advantage of them. Is Mr. Zhuge sure that Fa Wuxian and Jing Qiu will fight? After he hid, he secretly observed the operation of the entire desert empire, including the culture, knowledge, and the situation of the officials. From this, he could see Jing Qiu's thinking. The Sama Empire had all kinds of advanced craftsmanship. The forging of swords was also extremely sharp. They even knew all kinds of mechanical skills. The aristocratic upper class was also very rich in etiquette. They had their own language and art. Music, dance, and dance were all unique. This language was actually created by Jing Qiu. It was called Jingwen. It seemed that Jing Qiu didn't just want to build an empire. Instead, he wanted to create a civilization similar to the Godland, everlasting and passed down from generation to generation. This was an unyielding ambition. At present, the civilization of the Sama Empire was far from the civilization of the Godland. However, it was slowly becoming richer. Jing Qiu could live for 3,000 years or even longer. In such a long time, the empire would continue to expand, and he would definitely be able to build a vast and great civilization. At first, Gu Chernsha thought that Jing Qiu was arrogant and conceited. Now, it seemed that he was not arrogant and conceited. He really had the great ambition to swallow the world and reverse the yin and yang. Chapter 372. Gu Churnsha hid underground and then separated a trace of Dan Qi, attaching it to the sea of consciousness of a soldier captain. From his point of view, he saw the entire Sama Empire's civilization, religion, education, craftsmen, songs and dances, poetry, laws, and all sorts of local customs. He was very curious about the civilization that Jing Qiu had created. He didn't look down on it at all. A cultivator treated himself as a god and created a prosperous civilization. He wanted to strengthen it and pass it on for thousands of years. That in itself was a great achievement. From a certain perspective, the Heavenly Talisman Emperor was the founder, and so was Jing Qiu. Both of them were doing the same thing. However, the Heavenly Talisman Emperor wanted to reorganize the divine continent. It involved the gods, immortals, monsters, barbarians, saint families, and even the demon region. It was extremely complicated. Such a huge matter was far more difficult than forming a small country in the desert. But both of them had the same starting point. No wonder Jing Qiu has such achievements. The Sama Empire he created has many good points. If he takes care of it and nurtures it, within 100 years, the population can increase by 10 times. Gu Churnsha observed and thought. He discovered some key points of the common people heaven-mending technique. There are two theories now. One is that heaven and earth are heartless and treat all living things as dogs. There are many living things in the world, but they don't manage them, allowing them to develop and kill each other. The other is that heaven is merciful and rewards good and evil. But according to the highest standards of the celestial Tao, the heavenly Tao is heartless. It doesn't care about life and death. Gu Churnsha thought about it. But when we cultivate to a high realm, we take care of all living things and treat them like crop. Which farmer doesn't love his crops? This is the divine Tao. As for the divine Tao, the saints are heartless and treat the people as dogs. This is the difference between the divine Tao and the divine Tao. It can be said that the divine Tao is close to the heavenly Tao, while the divine Tao is a heaven-defying Tao. Or rather, it is to use one's body to replace the heavenly Tao. The divine Tao is completely different. Gu Churnsha deduced again and again. He had many plans in his mind. He was very patient and waited for an opportunity. At the same time, in the capital of the Sama Empire, in the deepest part of the main temple, there was a garden filled with formations. Jing Qiu placed the myrtle imperial star's profundity on the altar in the center of the garden and silently sat down. A strange energy seemed to wrap around it and gather on the imperial star's profundity. This power was the power of the entire Sama Empire. It was somewhat similar to the emperor's qi. Jing Qiu silently watched all of this. His face was a mixture of sadness and happiness. No one knew what he was thinking in the depths of his heart. In the garden, there were dozens of people. Jing Fanxing was the leader, followed by Jing Yunhuang, Jing Yunqi, Jing Xing, Jing Ji, Jing Xian, Jing Kong, Jing Shui, and others who had all reached the Tao realm. The elites of the Jing family were all here. However, Jing Fanxing, Xing Xing, Jing Ji, Jing Xian, Jing Kong, Jing Shui, and the others had all been stripped of their potential and cultivation by Gu Churnsha's Banish Immortals technique. They were now ordinary people. As for the other few elders, they weren't in the mountain and escaped. For example, Jing Yunhuang and Jing Yunqi. One of them was at the Tao Realm Transformation 13, and the other was at the Tao Realm Transformation 9. Their strength was still there and all of them felt like they had escaped. I didn't expect the family head to actually build such a huge empire in the depths of the endless desert. Jing Yunhuang was delighted. Apart from Jing Qiu, he was the person with the highest cultivation in the family. He was at the Tao Realm Transformation 13 and was just a step away from the Astral Soul Projection 14. No one in the Jing family knows about this. This empire was meticulously nurtured by me. I began laying out the foundation 100 years ago. The only reason I was able to cultivate to this level is because of this empire. It nurtured the energy of the people, and from it, I gained enlightenment of the ebb and flow of time, the impermanence of life, and the silent passage of time. Jing Qiu said, "What a pity, what a pity! My original intention was to obtain the common people's wish sphere and use it to suppress the Sama Empire and the destiny of the Qiu sect that I founded. However, I failed on the verge of success and even caused the Jing family to fall into enemy hand. Patriarch, my strength has completely disappeared, and I don't have any talent either. Even if I take pills and cultivate again, it won't help. Patriarch, please send me to the Black Gate of Heaven and Earth immediately. I'll ask the sect leader to activate the secret of the Celestial Gate and help me recover." Jing Fanxing was the most dispirited one. Even though he had escaped, he didn't feel happy at all. His cultivation was gone and his talent was the same as an idiot. It was tough for him to even walk, and he probably couldn't even kill a chicken. Not to mention returning to the Heaven and Earth Gate, he would die of thirst and exhaustion in less than 100 miles. For the first time, he felt the fragility of ordinary people. It was like a high and mighty emperor who suddenly lost his country and his family. He became a beggar among the people and had to fight with wild dogs for garbage. It's useless for you to return to the Heaven and Earth Gate. Although the sect leader is powerful, he can't do anything about your situation. If he could easily help you recover your strength, wouldn't he be able to mass-produce immortals with the 22 transformations of heaven and earth? Jing Qiu shook his head. Even the 3 celestial venerables would find it difficult to deal with your situation, let alone the Black Heaven and Earth Gate. Unless they are willing to use some ancient treasures, such as the spirit medicine from the primordial tree, the dragon creation chi from the dragon gate, or some supreme divine talismans from the ancient emperor's sacrifice. These things can only be found by luck. How could the 3 celestial venerables be willing to give them to you? Gu Tanjian has the dragon creation pill. It shouldn't be difficult to get one from him. As long as I consume it, I can recover my talent as an unparalleled genius. Furthermore, the clan head still has some azure dragon bloodline. It will not be difficult for me to recover my cultivation. Jing Fanxing seemed to have grasped at a life-saving straw. Difficult, difficult, difficult. Jing Qiu sighed once more. Fanxing, the most important thing isn't your talent. It's that you're old and your potential has been exhausted. How is that possible? I'm just. Jing Fanxing suddenly remembered that he had cultivated for hundreds of years in the depths of the Heaven and Earth Gate. That's right. You were greedy and advanced. You cultivated in the depths of the Heaven and Earth Gate for hundreds of years. You're actually already 500 to 600 years old. Actually, your strength was taken away by the banished deity and you're really at the end of your rope. Normal people can't live for 500 to 600 years, so you'll quickly grow old. Your teeth will fall out, your body will stink, and you'll become demented. In a year, you'll die of old age. Jing Qiu's words sent chills down Jing Fanxing's spine. If I hadn't used my technique to protect you, you'd probably be old by now. However, I can't protect you for long. At most, in 3 years, you'll still die of old age. What do I do? What do I do? Jing Fanxing was on the verge of breaking down. He suddenly felt like he could die at any moment. This was something he couldn't take. Life and death are extremely terrifying, especially when you originally had hope of living forever. Jing Qiu didn't care at all. However, show your willpower and face it calmly. As long as you can comprehend the secrets of the outliers beyond the heavenly Tao, there's still a lot of hope for you. You were originally an unparalleled genius, a proud son of heaven, and your cultivation was smooth sailing. However, your fiancé entered the palace, and your personality changed drastically. You became eager for quick success and blinded by hatred. This is a great calamity, and now your cultivation has been completely crippled. There's no hope at all, and you can only wait for death. This is a calamity within a calamity, but there's always a way out. Even beyond the heavenly Tao, there are outliers. Right now, you're already in the deepest depths of hell. If you can rely on your own willpower to turn the situation around, your achievements will be 10 times greater than before. Family head, how can I comprehend the outliers? Jing Fanxing was like a drowning person who had grabbed onto a life-saving straw. The Tao of outliers. Among the common people, among the lowliest of existences, there's a reason for survival. From ancient times until now, it wasn't the strongest who lived the longest. On the contrary, some of the lowliest existences were able to live on for generations. Jing Qiu sighed. But that's all I can give you. These are some of the principles I've comprehended while establishing the Sama Empire and operating the Tao of Divinity. What would you like me to do, family head? Jing Fanxing seemed to have pulled himself together, and his eyes glittered. Participate in the politics of the Sama Empire and carry out a series of reforms. I can guarantee that you won't die of old age within 3 years, but you only have 3 years. Jing Qiu said, in these 3 years you have to forget everything. Don't think about cultivation and forget about life and death. Devote yourself to managing the government, managing the country, and developing your way of thinking. I want to see how far you can go. In governing the country, you will let go of the past and become one with the common people. Remember, you only have 3 years. Abandon everything, forget everything, and be reborn. That's my advice to you. Yes. Jing Fanxing seemed to have understood many things. Great God, His Majesty the Emperor has come to listen to divine teachings. Just then, a prayer came from outside the garden. Let him in, Jing Qiu said. Crack. The door to the garden opened, and a middle-aged man in a golden robe walked in. He wore a crown and held a scepter. He looked to be in his 40s, but was actually in his 90s. This middle-aged man was the first sacred emperor of the Sama Empire, Tai Muhan. He knelt on both knees and paid his respects to Jing Qiu. Great God, thank you for the gift of rain. The lowly ruler of the Sama Empire seeks an audience with you. Very good, Tai Muhan. You've done well. Jing Qiu's divine voice rang out. I've brought new emissaries from the divine central plains. They all have my blood, and they will assist you in your politics. They will expand the empire's influence, and spread my glory to the distant divine central plains. God's decree is supreme, Tai Muhan said without hesitation. The lowly ruler will definitely believe in your Tao, and spread your glory to every corner of the world. Very well. Go back and make the arrangements. Jing Qiu waved his hand. Tai Muhan once again prostrated himself on the ground, then left. Chapter 373. Since ancient times, divine power and royal power had always clashed. Wise and valiant human emperors had tried their best to restrict divine power, even going so far as to destroy temples and hunt down and kill the believers of the gods. The famous emperors of the divine continent, such as the Emperor Wu, had once destroyed the temples of the gods and ordered the people not to believe in religion. They could only submit to the imperial power. The heavenly talisman emperor was even more amazing, directly sealing the gods. This was a different kind of god bestowment. It wasn't a bestowment of the gods, but a sealing of them. I've studied history for a long time. At the beginning of the empire's development, divine power was more important than anything else. No voices of opposition were allowed, and everything was dictated. This allowed all the power to be gathered and developed. The gods' vision far surpassed that of mortals, and they guided mortals onto the right path. Otherwise, mortals would walk on their own, killing each other and wasting their own strength. When civilization no longer needs the guidance of gods, gods will disappear. But now gods must exist. Jing Qiu said, actually, isn't the Yonko of the divine continent the same? Gu Taxian guided everything, but now that he's gone into seclusion, it's not as if he didn't want to investigate. He wants to see if the civilization he created can operate on its own without him. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem possible. On the path of creating a civilization, there are no precedent. Any powerful existence can only fumble about on their own. That is the greatest form of cultivation. Many of the Jing family disciples listened quietly. They felt that this family head's words were filled with profound truths. The Jing family has completely failed in the divine continent. I was defeated by the previous Lord of 7 Stars, Jiang Gongwang. It's not embarrassing. Jing Qiu didn't seem dispirited at all. Next, don't think about revenge. Use your own methods and strategies to expand the Sama Empire in the desert. There's plenty of time in the future to rebuild the Jing family's former glory. Yes, sir. The Jing family members all knew that the Sama Empire had been single-handedly cultivated by Jing Qiu. Jing Qiu had created the language, and Jing Qiu was their god. Given Jing Qiu's current strength, he could indeed suppress everything and protect the empire. Even the Tao of immortals and mystical sects couldn't do anything to him. Tao Realm 25 Transformation Undying Body had the right to do so. Don't underestimate government affairs. It's a good opportunity for cultivation, Jing Qiu warned again. We all know. Don't worry, Patriarch. Everyone said. Patriarch, if you can fuse the profound mysteries of the Imperial Star into your body, you'll be as strong as a Lord of 6 Stars. Jing Fanqing said, the Myrtle Imperial Star is one of the most powerful stars. It possesses unfathomable power and can rule over the mortal realm. This star profound is extremely hard to refine, but I have my ways. Jing Qiu glanced at Jing Fanqing. Don't worry, if you can comprehend the path of Divergent within 3 years, not only will you recover your strength, but you will also have the strength to kill Gu Chunsha. Comprehending a Divergent? Ha 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 ha. At that moment a voice sounded out. Following that, the layers of formations did not react at all, allowing a young man to enter. This young man was wearing normal hemp clothes and hemp shoes. He looked really simple and didn't look like a mortal cultivator at all. F.A. Wuxian. Jing Qiu knew who it was right away. F.A. Wuxian's temperament was completely different from before. In the past, he was the number 1 in the world, looking down on all heroes, peerless in the divine path. But now, he was on a different plane from the many spaces. He seemed to be in a trance, as if he existed, but also as if he didn't exist. Mr. Jing Qiu is really powerful. He actually dared to start a rebellion. It's a pity that he met Zhuge Ye and failed at the last step. Even I feel sorry for him, but he still has a backup plan. He has built such a huge empire in the desert. F.A. Wuxian stood in the air with his arms behind his back. I came today to take some things from you. I want the profoundness of the Myrtle Imperial Star. Also, I want a portion of your Azure Dragon bloodline and Gochen bloodline. Ha 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 ha. Jing Qiu laughed very happily. F.A. Wuxian, you're really interesting. You're actually demanding an exorbitant price and want these things. Then what did you bring for me? Me? I'll help you build this empire and expand it. Moreover, if you and I work together, we won't have to fear Zhuge Ye and the Calm Immortal Department. We can even kill them. How about it? Apart from this, I can also use our legalism's supreme treasure, the unified cutting technique hoop. With the help of this treasure, there's hope of killing Zhuge Ye, right? F.A. Wuxian's tone did not allow anyone to go against him. The legalist's true treasure for suppressing destiny was something equivalent to the life's wish sphere. It was the unified cutting ring. This ring was created by the legalist sage using his own bones. It had been nurtured for thousands of years by the legalists for generations. It had reached an unprecedented level and was not inferior to the life's wish sphere. In fact, it might even surpass it. Of course, this was also why the life's wish sphere had not been perfected. The core of the legalism school was the world within the hoop. It was called the omniscient law realm, and it had the wondrous ability to rotate the universe. Fa Wuxian, you don't need the omniscient law ring, and you can't promise me anything. As for your help, it's useless to me. What kind of treasure is the profoundness of the Myrtle Imperial Star? The Azure Dragon bloodline and Gochun bloodline are also supreme bloodlines. Do you really think that I, Jingqiu, am a stray dog? Is that not the case? Fa Wuxian's eyes were filled with mockery. The Jing clan has already been erased from the divine prefecture. The other disciples have either been locked up or killed. They're all going through trials. In the eyes of the various aristocratic families, the Jing clan has no chance of making a comeback. This time, even Wu Dangkong didn't say much. She seems to have reached some sort of agreement with Zhuge. Actually, I'm here today to obtain the Myrtle Imperial Star. Azure Dragon bloodline and Gochun bloodline, you have to give them to me even if you don't want to. If you don't, I don't mind wiping your Sama Empire from the desert. How dare you? Jing Qiu nodded. You're not here to cooperate, you're here to threaten me. It's understandable that Mr. Jing Qiu thinks that way. You're a stray dog now, and it seems like you don't have the chance to negotiate with me. I'd like to capture you and exchange some things with the Calming Fairy Department, Fa Wuxian said indifferently. You are now at Dao Realm 22, phenomenon of heaven and earth. Jing Qiu's expression calmed down. He was even calmer than Fa Wuxian. Your talent is that of a natural saint, so you were pretty much invincible the moment you were born. Your cultivation is similar to Jing Fanxing, but with your cultivation, you are definitely no match for me. Even if you are a natural saint. It seems like Mr. Jing Qiu has underestimated natural saint. You underestimated Zhuge, which is why you ended up in such a state. You underestimated me, and today will be the day you die. A cruel smile appeared on Fa Wuxian's face. Fa Wuxian, you are far weaker than Zhuge. Do you think I lost to Zhuge? Actually, I lost to Jiang Gongwang and Zhuge Ye's Lord of 7 Stars working together. Jiang Gongwang's cultivation is the king of saints and he is even stronger than your Dharma saint. I admit that I lost to him, but sooner or later, I will take revenge. As for you, you can't even compare to Zhuge. Since you actually came to find me, then I will kill you. I'm not even afraid of Gu Taxian and rebelled. Do you think I will be afraid of a small legalist? Jing Qiu suddenly sighed. He stood up abruptly and walked like a dragon or tiger. The wind blew and the clouds scud as he threw a punch at Fa Wuxian. His left fist was the world-flipping fist, but his right fist was different. It was the world creation fist. Everything he had done in the divine land had turned the world upside down and thrown the universe into chaos. What he had done in the desert was to create the universe and create civilization. This was his true trump card. He hadn't used it against Zhuge because he knew that even if he did, it would be useless. But now, he attacked Fa Wuxian. Whoosh! Fa Wuxian felt 2 completely different fist techniques wrap around him. It was as if he were facing the boundless might of heaven and the power of yin and yang. This guy is powerful. His undying body is really powerful. Fa Wuxian didn't look down on Jing Qiu at all. Although his tone was disdainful, he was actually fully focused on defending against Jing Qiu. But when Jing Qiu's fist technique came, he felt like he was completely surrounded by raging waves. Dharma blessing! He activated his own defense. Countless talismans gathered around him. No matter how Jing Qiu attacked, he didn't move. But when Jing Qiu's fist technique passed, he found that he was already tens of thousands of miles away on the sea. Jing Qiu had used his supreme Dharma power to avoid fighting in the Sama Empire and hurting his subjects. Jing Qiu, I can't believe you used your Dharma power to move our battlefield to the sea. It seems that you have a lot of misgivings. Fa Wuxian laughed. It seems that you are very afraid that I will kill your subjects. That's right. The Sama Empire is a country that I have painstakingly managed for a long time. God's sheep and God's crops can only be carefully cared for. You won't understand that. Jing Qiu looked at Fa Wuxian quietly. Fa Wuxian, with your abilities, if you don't fight me head-on and focus on destroying my country, I'm afraid it will really cause a destructive blow. Hence, I can't allow you to do that. My desire to kill you has surpassed Minister Jing Xian because you have already crossed my bottom line. I want to capture you too. Fa Wuxian spread his arms wide. You were defeated at the hands of the Jing Xianxi. If I can't even deal with you, how can I possibly wipe them out? But don't worry, I'll throw the world into chaos and oppose Gu Taxian. That's exactly what I want to do. Chapter 374. Fa Wuxian had been silent for too long. Ever since Zhuge appeared, he had restrained his actions and disappeared from everyone's sight. Actually, he had been cultivating in secret and holding back his anger. The Tao of battle sage that he comprehended was to fight against the heavens, against the earth, and against people. In the battle at Buzhou Palace many years ago, he had activated this Tao but was unable to take down Liu Baiyue's great massacre god technique. It was a great humiliation. This time, he wanted to kill Si Jingxian and capture Zhuge Ye to prove that he was the #1 natural-born saint and that he could dominate the world. But now, he knew that it was still too early for him to be on par with Zhuge Ye. Coincidentally, Jing Qiu had given him a chance. Jing Qiu had many treasures on him, especially the profound meaning of the Myrtle Imperial Star, the Green Dragon blood, and the Gochen blood. When fused together, Fa Wuxian's battle techniques and aptitude would increase once again. Even the natural-born saint, aptitude was actually divided into different grades. For example, Zhuge Ye, Grand Preceptor Wenhong, and Fa Wuxian were all of this grade. But in terms of aptitude, Zhuge Ye was the strongest, Wenhong was about the same, and Fa Wuxian was slightly weaker than the other two. This meant that Fa Wuxian still had room for improvement. After he captured and killed Jing Qiu, his strength would increase, and after some hard work, he would be able to find Si Jingxian. Moreover, if an expert like Jing Qiu fought with him to the death, he would be able to greatly improve himself. His Tao of battle sage was very pure. It was to fight, fight, and fight again. To abandon everything and not consider anything else. Everything was for the sake of fighting. Kill. Jing Qiu punched out again. The fist force was mixed with magic power, and it seemed to cover the sky. His 36 doppelgangers also punched out, and the sky-concealing formation kept rotating, pressing, and pulling, wanting to completely tear Fa Wuxian apart. What a heavenly dipper extreme Tao transformation! If it were any other lawful embodiment of heaven and earth, they would have been completely destroyed by this move. Fa Wuxian could feel immense pressure coming from all directions. He couldn't escape or dodge. He could only take the attack head-on. Suddenly, his body transformed into a ring. The ring was divided into two sides, one black and one white. Within the ring, there was a black and a white ring. Countless transformations took place. All the magic power that was sent into the depths of the ring vanished into thin air or was completely absorbed. At the Tao realm 22 transformations, phenomenon of heaven and earth, one could transform into anything in the world. Naturally, one could use their body to transform into all sorts of treasures. The black gate of heaven and earth, that Jing Fanqing had transformed into, was extremely powerful. And now, the magic treasure Fa Wuxian had transformed into was the legalism's cornerstone treasure, the unified cutting Dharma ring. This bracelet could suppress the school of legalism's karmic luck, and it had all sorts of unimaginable uses. Fa Wuxian was able to use his body's transformations to simulate some of the uses, and he was actually able to block Jing Qiu's attack. Buzz, a mysterious phenomenon, appeared in heaven and earth. When Jing Qiu and Fa Wuxian's magic power clashed with one another, the ocean water flew into the sky. It was as if heaven and earth had flipped. The sky was the ocean and the ground was the clouds. Lock. Jing Qiu's 36 magic clones all had supreme uses, and now they were all quickly setting up astral step. Above their heads, a purple energy current appeared. That was the shaking of magic power, and it started to absorb celestial energy from the celestial world to attack. A purple ripple spread out, and the sky within dozens of miles turned into a giant purple crystal rectangle. Within the rectangle, Fa Wuxian and Jing Qiu faced off once more. This is the technique of the three celestial venerables, primordial celestial realm. Fa Wuxian looked at the purple crystal rectangle around him. It was formed from celestial energy, but when the celestial energy changed, it contained a portion of the celestial world's will. It was vast and indestructible. That's right. This is the primordial celestial realm. It uses a secret technique to draw upon the celestial world's will to create a realm that can seal the enemy and prevent them from escaping. Jing Qiu calmed down completely. This is not my own power, but the power I borrowed from the celestial world. It's the will of the dimension. This technique can even isolate all magic treasures. Originally, I was confident that I could kill Zhuge Ye by using this technique with the central Wutu Great Virtue flag. Unfortunately, I miscalculated. But this time, even without the central Wutu Great Virtue flag, I'm confident that you won't be able to escape. The three celestial venerables are really troublemakers. They don't have the confidence to face Gu Taxian directly, and they don't know what Gu Taxian is up to. So they raise some pawns like you, the ancient black sand, and some others. Fa Wuxian laughed coldly. Looks like you're determined to kill me today? It's not that I want to kill you. You are the one blinded by greed. Do you really think that my Jing clan is a stray dog? Jing Qiu seemed to have seen through Fa Wuxian's thoughts. There's a path to heaven, but you don't want to take it. Instead, you barge into the gates of hell. As Fa Wuxian spoke, he secretly circulated his magic energy, wanting to seep it out. However, it was useless. It's useless. If the primordial celestial realm can be broken through, the three celestial venerables would have lived for nothing. Jing Qiu had already grasped every action of Fa Wuxian. At this moment, in the desert far away, Gu Chernsha was still in the form of a speck of sand. He floated in the air along with the wind, secretly observing the battle on the sea surface. In his eyes, Jing Qiu and Fa Wuxian were fighting within the huge amethyst cuboid in the distance. However, the power of their battle did not leak out at all. Instead, it was absorbed by the amethyst cuboid, which made the amethyst cuboid even more sturdy. The sealing power was even stronger. Layer by layer, it pressed down on Fa Wuxian. Jing Qiu is truly awesome. Gu Chernsha stared at this battle. There was no suspense at all. From the start to the end, Jing Qiu had the upper hand. Even if Fa Wuxian was an innate saint, he had no way to retaliate. This primordial celestial realm can actually borrow the will of the immortal world to form a domain, sealing the surroundings and absorbing the aftershocks of the battle. This means that every time Fa Wuxian attacks, he is actually helping the immortal realm to strengthen itself. Fa Wuxian is actually fighting against a trace of the will of the immortal world. There's basically no chance of victory. Now we can only see if he can escape or not. However, Fa Wuxian definitely has some trump cards up his sleeve. Gu Chernsha comprehended many principles from watching Jing Qiu's battle. This was especially so because this primordial celestial realm was extremely similar to the Great Massacre Divine Art. However, the Great Massacre Divine Art was much more profound and exquisite compared to the primordial celestial realm. It was just that Gu Chunsha was far from being able to comprehend the essence of the great massacre divine art. Even Lu Baiwei had only comprehended 1% of the profundities. During the battle between Fa Wuxian and Jing Qiu, Gu Chunsha imprinted the entire scene into his sea of consciousness. He used all his mental energy to calculate and analyze, trying to unravel the secrets and essence of their cultivation. This battle was of great benefit to him. After an hour, the battle between Fa Wuxian and Jing Qiu grew more and more intense. The primordial celestial realm was also shrinking from tens of miles to only a few miles, squeezing Fa Wuxian's combat and survival space. If there were no accidents, Fa Wuxian would definitely be killed by Jing Qiu. A large amount of information was collected by Gu Chunsha into his sea of consciousness. After that, he started to calculate. Regardless of whether it was Jing Qiu or Fa Wuxian, the current Gu Chunsha wouldn't be able to do anything to them. In fact, he might even be at a disadvantage in a one-on-one fight. Don't think that Jing Fanxing and Fa Wuxian were at the same realm, the 22 transformations of Tao realm phenomenon of heaven and earth. In truth, their combat strength was worlds apart. Gu Chunsha could use the banished celestial technique to casually toy with Jing Fanxing, but against Fa Wuxian, he could only flee. After all, be it talent or cultivation, he was far from Fa Wuxian. Of course, after the Grotto Heaven Grand Ceremony, Law Emperor Grand Ceremony, 100 World Grand Ceremony, and after merging the God of 5 Seasons, Green Dragon, White Tiger, Vermilion Bird, and Xuanwu bloodlines, the strength of his physical body far exceeded that of Fa Wuxian. If he had also advanced to the 22 transformations, lawful embodiment of heaven and earth, then Fa Wuxian would definitely not be his match. After all, since ancient times, no one had gathered the Gochen, Green Dragon, White Tiger, Vermilion Bird, and Xuanwu bloodlines. Even if the legalists were really strong, they definitely wouldn't be able to obtain all these bloodlines. On the other hand, Com's celestial division was really lucky. The few main leaders, Lu Baiwei, Gu Chunsha, Zhuge Ye the Fourth, and Jin Suebua, all had the 5 bloodlines. They were circulating in their bodies to gather and raise their strength. However, these bloodlines were still a little thin. If he could get more, he could strengthen them. The best way was to capture Gochen's main body and then obtain the Saint-level Green Dragon, White Tiger, Vermilion Bird, and Xuanwu bloodlines. Only then would these bloodlines be complete. Gu Chunsha tried his best to deduce, and in the depths of his mind, the potential in his body was ignited. His heart split and his 300,000 task mind became 600,000 task mind. His primordial soul power doubled again. With the essence soul and the Xiantian energy in his body, his golden pellet could be strengthened. It seems like my foundation stabilizing technique is having some effect. Once I raise my essence soul power to the 100,000 task mind level, my foundation will be stable and I will break through to Tao Realm 20 transformations. It won't be too late for me to start cultivating. There is no rush now. After Gu Chunsha's essence soul power broke through to the 600,000 task mind level, be it absorbing energy from the outside world or purifying the impurities in his golden pellet, it became much easier. Under his divine technique, many of the wondrous techniques in the Son of Heaven's investiture art had made great progress. Normally speaking, people like him who could change their size 19 times would at most be able to do 10,000 things with one heart or 20,000 to 30,000 things. They were far from his level. Gu Chunsha hid even deeper, but his observation was even clearer. He had finally achieved a breakthrough after accumulating and comprehending for the past few days. He felt very gratified, and at this moment, within the primordial ancient celestial realm, Fa Wuxian had already been forced into a desperate situation, and he started to retaliate. 1. Chapter 375. The Tao that Fa Wuxian comprehended was the battle Tao. He was best at fighting and he wanted to become a battle saint. During the fight for Buzhou Palace, he had used the battle word when he fought with Liu Baiwei. But at that time, his realm wasn't high and he hadn't cultivated his dermic powers. The battle word that he used was a transformation of his Yuan Shun and earth energy, and its strength was far from what it was now. Now, he was at the 22 changes of Tao realm, phenomenon of heaven and earth. He could transform into anything in the world, and the battle word that he formed was the essence of battle. The large Dou character suddenly released a bright light. Boundless killing intent and battle chi stirred up the will of countless battles and battles that had occurred since ancient times. He seemed to have obtained the support of the battle energy of heaven and earth, and was fighting back. You want to run out? How is that possible? Today, I will let you know that it is easy for a natural saint to fall, and it isn't always smooth sailing. Since ancient times, there have been natural saints who have fallen. Jing Qiu was prepared for Fa Wuxian's counterattack. Even Gu Chunxia could guess that Fa Wuxian would counterattack, so how could Jing Qiu not kill? Jing Qiu's hands changed once more and the 36 clones merged into one. His body instantly turned into a gourd. This gourd contained connate killing energy. Celestial slaying god flying knife. Gu Chunxia was shocked. Jing Qiu's transformation had turned himself into the top killing weapon in the world. This meant that Jing Qiu had comprehended this treasure before. At this moment, the treasure was in the hands of the 3 heaven venerables, and even they couldn't casually use it. Otherwise, they would suffer the backlash of the connate killing energy, and it would be hard to control. Although Gu Chunxia had comprehended this treasure, it was condensed from the heavenly demon tree, and not the real thing. It was just a replica and couldn't be compared to the real thing. As for the gourd that Jing Qiu had transformed into, its aura and killing intent far surpassed that of the treasure condensed on the heavenly demon tree. From this, it could be seen that he had likely made a deal with the 3 Empyreans and seen the true treasure. Then, after perceiving its mysteries, he was able to comprehend this transformation. After the Tao realm 22 transformations, astronomical phenomenon, one could transform one's body into various treasures of varying strength. As for the treasure that Jing Qiu had transformed into, there was no doubt that its offensive power was the greatest. His intention to kill Fa Wuxian was aroused. Gu Chunxia was well versed in the secret of this treasure and knew that every time he used this treasure transformation, he would consume a lot of essence energy. It would even affect his cultivation greatly. At this moment, Fa Wuxian counterattacked and Jing Qiu used this transformation to break his sharpness. As long as his sharpness was broken, Fa Wuxian would no longer have the ability to counterattack and would be captured and killed. 1. A flying knife appeared from the gourd that Jing Qiu had transformed into and slashed at the fighting word. Kill. Both of their powers gathered together and a huge storm appeared in the Yuan-Gu celestial domain. Then, the celestial domain couldn't take it anymore and started to explode. The celestial domain cracked open and countless purple crystal shards fell into the ocean. Some even scattered and merged into the air. This was the scene of celestial energy shattering and the battle between immortals and demons. Gu Chunxia finally knew why the battle between immortals and demons would cause all sorts of phenomenons. For example, when the celestial crystals fell into the ocean would turn into a dead zone. The celestial energy would brew and poison most living beings to death. Then, it would slowly break down and turn into nourishment for living beings. Many strong beasts would appear in the ocean region. At the start of the celestial crystals, even golden core experts would explode after absorbing them. After the giant explosion, Gu Chunxia saw Jing Qiu standing there while Fa Wuxian screamed and fled towards the depths of the ocean. Fa Wuxian sank to the bottom of the ocean. Jing Qiu did not chase after him. He stood where he was and adjusted his breathing for a moment. Then, his body flashed with light and he recovered his strength. He flew back to his own kingdom. He did not try to kill Fa Wuxian. Jing Qiu is amazing. Gu Chunsha felt that this person was a saint. He wasn't a natural-born saint, but he was better than one. In that attack, Gu Chunsha could see that Fa Wuxian was seriously injured and had barely managed to use a secret technique to escape. Jing Qiu's injury was caused by the transformation of the immortal slaying god flying knife. Fa Wuxian didn't have the ability to hurt him. No wonder Jing Qiu dared to rebel. If Zhuge Ye hadn't appeared, the Celestial Tranquility Department would have been destroyed. Gu Chunsha didn't follow Jing Qiu back to the Sama Empire. He decided to find the seriously injured Fa Wuxian. This person was also a potential threat to the world. He had wanted to kill the Celestial Tranquility Department many times. If he could capture and kill it, he could avoid a great disaster. As for the reaction of the legalists, Gu Chunsha didn't care. The common people's wish sphere was complete, and he was about to cultivate mana. Zhuge Ye's cultivation was increasing day by day. Even a god couldn't break through the sphere's defense. The legalists couldn't do anything to the Celestial Tranquility Department even if they came out in full force. After Jing Qiu left, Gu Chunsha turned into dust and entered the depths of the ocean in search of Fa Wuxian's aura. Back when he found the place where the head of the fiercest of the divine prefecture was sealed, he didn't care about the pressure of the deep ocean anymore. Now, his cultivation was more than 100 times stronger than before. He could enter any depths of the ocean without any pressure. Moreover, he could drill into the depths of the rocky crust. His physical body could change size at will. He could turn into dust and use his core qi to drill into the ground without any obstruction. When he reached the depths of the ocean, Gu Chunsha immediately used a technique to calculate. It was the Son of Heaven's God-conferring art's brightness of sun and moon. He had already mastered all 10 styles of sun and moon shine together. Sun and moon refining, sun and moon transformation, sun and moon slaying, sun and moon dragon, sun and moon talisman, sun and moon sacrifice, sun and moon sky, sun and moon god, sun and moon illumination, and sun and moon Tao. Among them, the sun and moon illumination was a technique to see. As the saying went, the sun and moon illumination. The sun and moon hung high in the sky. Since ancient times, nothing could be hidden from the sun and moon. Gu Chunsha activated the sun and moon illumination and sensed the secrets of the sun and moon. With the sun and moon as his eyes, he could observe everything in the boundless universe. Even the 3 celestial venerables didn't know this technique. There were many secrets to the Son of Heaven's God-conferring art. Gu Chunsha was far from fully comprehending it, just like the Great Massacre God technique. Fortunately, when he activated the sun and moon illumination, the primordial spirit in his sea of consciousness resonated with the sun and moon in the sky. In an instant, he caught hold of Fa Wuxian's aura and movements. Very good, Fa Wuxian, you won't be able to escape this time. Gu Chunsha chased after the aura. Fa Wuxian had a secret technique to escape, and it seemed to be able to hide from some calculations. However, in front of the sun and moon illumination, he couldn't hide it. Gu Chunsha shuttled at the bottom of the ocean at high speed for a full 4 hours. Finally, he found a mountain range at the bottom of the ocean. He could vaguely sense Fa Wuxian's aura. The mountain range at the bottom of the ocean was tall and extended, like a continental shelf. The deep trench was unknown for hundreds or thousands of miles, and the bottom couldn't be seen. The mountain range seemed to have formed a natural formation. Spirit qi was abundant, and countless demonic beasts resided in it, forming their own territories and nests. Another huge piece of jade ore. Gu Chunsha landed in a mountain range and revealed his body, returning to his normal size. He retracted his core qi into his body, allowing the seawater pressure to augment his body. At this moment, he was 100 miles deep in the ocean. The pressure was even greater than the previous time. With such immense water pressure directly augmenting his body, any golden body would immediately shatter. However, Gu Chunsha strolled leisurely and didn't care at all. He reached out and grabbed, and a rock under his feet cracked. He took out a fist-sized piece and discovered that there was some jade in it. However, it wasn't pure jade. However, this also meant that there was a huge jade ore in this mountain range. It was just that the price to mine it was too high. If it wasn't for the huge jade ore, there wouldn't be any spirit chi gathering in this mountain range. Fa Wuxian entered the depths of the mountain range to recuperate. He seemed to want to make use of some kind of mountain terrain to recuperate before leaving. He didn't want to return to the school of legalism. Because he had failed this time, he would lose all face when he returned to the school of legalism. Gu Chunsha searched carefully and traveled through the mountain range silently. This mountain range was extremely vast, almost the size of the Great Yonko State. The trenches were even deeper. Even Gu Chunsha was afraid and didn't want to go down easily. Suddenly, at the foot of a mountain range, Gu Chunsha felt Fa Wuxian's aura. He didn't dare to act rashly and hid to observe. He swam at the bottom of the sea with only his physical body and didn't use his core chi. This way, it would be difficult for Fa Wuxian to detect him. An ancient, immortal cave abode. He looked over and realized that there was a stone door at the foot of the mountain. In the depths of the stone door was a cave abode. There was an ancient magical power and the aura of a great formation coming from it. Gu Chunsha even saw a few words carved on the ancient stone door. They were bird-shaped characters from ancient times, and they were called Ancient Underworld Underwater Abode. Clearly, this was a cave abode built by ancient immortals at the bottom of the sea. Many ancient immortals who cultivated to a certain level would like peace and quiet would build abodes in the depths of the sea. Moreover, there were thousands of times more living creatures and monsters in the underwater mines than on land. Spirit medicines were also extremely abundant, making it more suitable for cultivation. However, without enough cultivation, it was impossible to build a cave abode at the bottom of the sea. Even for the current Gu Chunsha, it was still very difficult to build a cave abode at the bottom of the sea. Only someone like Jing Qiu could do it. This ancient underworld underwater abode was obviously abandoned after the death of its owner. Fa Wuxian found it and took some treasures. Now, he hid himself and used the formation inside to cultivate and recover from his injuries. Gu Chunsha searched through the secrets of the immortal Tao and found that there was indeed an immortal called Ancient Underworld thousands of years ago. He appeared during the era of martial emperors, but there weren't many records. Many immortals were unknown to the public. Very good, Fa Wuxian is exploring around and there are some secret. I'll go in and take a look. Now that his injuries are serious, I'm afraid he's not my opponent. I'll take advantage of his illness and take his life. Gu Chunsha's body flickered and he hid himself, secretly approaching the entrance of the ancient underworld underwater abode. Chapter 376. This is the pure water mystic array technique, a divine power that transfers strength. The spirit jade fortification array can absorb water pressure and turn it into power to release a light screen. Gu Chunsha was well-read and knew almost everything about immortal Tao array technique. He was very knowledgeable and could tell at once. There were 3 arrays at the entrance that transferred water pressure and turned it into power. Even Gu Chunsha could not create it. In the deep sea, there was huge water pressure all the time, enough to flatten steel. The best way to build a cave abode was to use an array formation to convert the water pressure into power for the array formation. This was extremely difficult to do. Even with Gu Chunsha's skills, he could not do it. Unless he cultivated dermic powers and reached 20 transformations, he could use dermic powers to carve arrays and build a cave abode. Only then would it be possible to build a cave abode in the deep sea. Connate vigor chi could nourish mortal objects and unblock meridians, while primordial spirit could give objects spirituality and turn them into treasures. Golden core power could nourish the body, allowing it to expand and shrink at will. It was even more mysterious to nourish mortal objects. For example, if Gu Chunsha injected a bit of core power into an ordinary iron sword, the sword would immediately expand and shrink, turning into an immortal flying sword that could slash people dozens of miles away. But this was not as good as dermic powers. A bit of dermic powers could turn a rock into gold, completely changing the material structure. Under the effect of magic power, even ordinary soil could be turned into a precious material for refining weapons. Many Dharma treasures and array formations could only be condensed by cultivating dermic powers. This array formation can only stop the seawater from seeping in, but it can't stop me. Gu Chunsha took a look and decided to barge in. The owner was dead anyway, and Fa Wuxian had taken over the nest. It was the best opportunity. He immediately activated his golden core, and his body suddenly shrank again, turning into dust. With the lunisolar sky technique, he sneaked in. The lunisolar sky technique completely hid one's aura. It was empty, distant, and silent. As the saying went, the sun and the moon were both empty. He didn't activate the spell formation, but just entered the cave. The first thing that came into sight was a huge cave with a circumference of 100 miles. The entire undersea mountain had been hollowed out, just like the caves Jingqiu had built in many mountains in Jingzhou. The inside of the cave was extremely bright, and the walls all around released a gentle radiance. This was spiritual light, and they were all made from the best stellar jade. The cave was 100 zhang tall, and it was incomparably grand. Exotic flowers and plants were planted everywhere. There were also 81 altars built in the cave abode that had a circumference of 100 miles. Each altar had a statue of a god that was several hundred feet tall sitting on it. The statues released a continuous power that served as the support of the cave abode. Other than that, there was also a stone room in the cave. There were all kinds of shining treasures stored in it. Waves of magic power could be felt from it. At the very center was a giant pill furnace that was as tall as 10 people. This pill furnace was the real highlight of the entire cave. The flame under the pill furnace seemed to be an underground essence flame that never went out. There was a volcano at the bottom of the sea, and deep in the volcano was the earth fire that was extremely hot. Those with profound magic power would bind the earth fire, and use the array formation to refine it into a fire spirit, which would be used as the fire for alchemy. The pill furnace was bronze in color, and it looked ancient and vicissitudes of life. There were ancient divine beasts, forests, humans, demons, ghosts, deities, and emperors carved on it. They were vivid and lifelike, as if they were about to jump out from it. In the pill furnace there seemed to be something being refined. There were also strong waves of magic power coming from it, and at the same time, a delicate fragrance was emitted. And Fa Wuxian was sitting in front of the pill furnace. He seemed to be breathing in and out, absorbing the delicate fragrance coming from the pill furnace. His body was like a cloud of smoke, sometimes dim and sometimes dense. It did not feel real. This is a good chance. This state means that the Dharmakaya is not real, and it is a sign that his vitality is greatly injured. With one look, Gu Chunsha knew that Fa Wuxian's injury was extremely serious. Otherwise, how could there be a smell of smoke and clouds? At this moment, he was 80 to 90% sure that he could capture and kill Fa Wuxian. Who is it? Just as Gu Chunsha was thinking about how to deal with Fa Wuxian suddenly stood up, raised his palm, and his magic power surged out. The magic power searched everywhere, covering the sky and covering the earth. In an instant it broke through Gu Chunsha's invisibility technique, and revealed his body. "It's you, Gu Chunsha." When Fa Wuxian saw Gu Chunsha, His face turned fierce, and obvious killing intent could be seen. Fa Wuxian, I didn't expect that you would still have such strength despite your injuries. You are able to break through my invisibility technique. You are indeed a natural saint. Gu Chensha stared at Fa Wuxian. However, you were injured by Jing Qiu's immortal slaying god punishing gourd. I'm afraid you only have less than 10% of your strength left. How can you be a match for me? Even 10% of my strength is enough to kill you. Fa Wuxian laughed heartily. Just when I'm feeling sleepy, someone sends me a pillow. I can't recover my strength, but if I capture you and devour your bloodline, I can definitely recover. Your Calmness Immortal Department actually obtained the bloodlines of North Qin, Azure Dragon, White Tiger, Vermilion Bird, and Black Tortoise. After obtaining your bloodline, I will definitely be able to improve further. I also want to kill you and fuse you into my Ghost God's touch tree. I will definitely be able to refine the heavenly demon tree. Gu Chensha looked at the cave abode. Netherworld Ancient Underwater Abode. Netherworld Ancient Netherworld's cultivation is no lower than Jing Qiu's. If I'm not wrong, this cauldron actually has the smell of the Dragonization Pagoda. Could it be that Netherworld Ancient Netherworld obtained the remains of the Dragonization Pagoda and turned it into a cauldron? Immortal Netherworld Ancient was a figure from the era of the Martial Emperor. According to the legends, he even assisted the Martial Emperor. When Gu Chensha saw this cauldron, he felt that it contained the smell of the Dragonization Pagoda. The Martial Emperor built the Dragonization Pagoda to stabilize the fate of the nation, but it was later destroyed. The first thing Gu Chensha obtained was a wreckage, which was obtained by the demonic ape temple of chaos and painstakingly refined. And now, this cauldron's power was more than 10 times that of the wreckage. That's right, it's the wreckage of the Dragonization Pagoda. Netherworld Ancient's cultivation is about the same as Jing Qiu's, but his battle prowess should be far inferior to Jing Qiu's. Fa Wuxian said, but Netherworld Ancient is also a character. His arcane energy turned into a Netherworld Ancient relic, which has been brewing in this cauldron for countless years. Although he is already dead, all of his arcane energy crystallized into the Netherworld Ancient Pearl. After thousands of years of refinement, it is only a little bit away from becoming one with this cauldron and becoming a powerful artifact. He hoped to borrow the power of this cauldron to resurrect himself. But when I found this cauldron, everything belongs to me. Coincidentally, you arrived at this time, so I threw you into the cauldron and let you become one with the cauldron, turning you into a powerful artifact. Then, I will become one with this artifact. That way, I will have the strength to kill Jing Qiu. It seems like you are very confident in killing me? Gu Chensha was a little solemn. Indeed, in this cauldron, you will be able to use the power within it, and your strength will increase. But this is also good because it makes it more challenging for me. Otherwise, I will have to kill you directly. There is no difficulty at all, and it will not be a good training for me. Who would have thought? I thought that Lu Baiwei would be my opponent, but who would have thought that you would come out of nowhere? Fa Wuxian sighed. In that case, I can't be bothered to talk to you anymore. Let's finish this quickly. Buzz, as he spoke, another Fa Wuxian appeared behind Gu Chensha. This Fa Wuxian held a long sword in his hand and stabbed at Gu Chensha's head. The moment Gu Chensha was attacked, he lunged forward and attacked the real body of Fa Wuxian. His first move was an extremely fierce attack. His palm was like a knife, and he infused his core qi into it. As he stabbed down, a talisman formed in his hand. Fa Wuxian was about to take it head-on, but he suddenly realized that there was a talisman in Gu Chensha's hand. He immediately shrank back and dodged, not daring to take it head-on. Banishing Immortal's Talisman. Fa Wuxian recognized it. This was the move that the 3 celestial masters used in ancient times to make the immortals tremble in fear. Gu Chensha did not reply. Instead, he waved his hands again, and layers of palm shadows surrounded Fa Wuxian. He did not use any Dharma spells, but purely used his physical body to attack. His physical body was stronger than any Dharma treasure or weapon. The golden elixir was jumping in his body, and he was like a lightning bolt. Swoosh! He caught up with Fa Wuxian and slapped again, blocking Fa Wuxian's escape route, forcing Fa Wuxian to take his banishing immortal palm. This banishing immortal palm technique was just comprehended by Gu Qinsha. It was to use the power of the banishing immortal on one's hand, and use one's physical body to attack the enemy. By slapping continuously, the enemy's Dharma power would dissipate, and the enemy would be reduced to immortal. Fa Wuxian was really annoyed by Gu Qinsha's attacks, and for a moment, he was actually at a disadvantage. Damn it, if I was killed by the immortal slaying god slaying flying knife that Jing Qiu transformed into, why would I be afraid of his banishing immortal technique? It would not be able to cause any damage to my Dharma power. But now, it's hard to say. See, Jing Qiu is full of tricks, and this person probably has a trump card. I can't take the risk, or else, a single mistake would cause everlasting sorrow, and it would be a joke if I failed miserably. Fa Wuxian dodged continuously, and he was chased by Gu Qinsha everywhere. Running? Gu Qinsha looked at Fa Wuxian running everywhere, and he kept chasing after him. He was about to be hit, but Fa Wuxian would always escape at the most crucial moment. Suddenly, he let out a long roar, and he combined the 10 styles of the Son of Heaven God Sealing Art. The Son of Heaven God Sealing Art had 3 styles. Sun and moon shine together, heaven and earth live together, and all beings are united. Each style had 10 styles. Most of the sons of heaven had only learned the first 10 styles, and they had already swept through the world, killing all the demons and gods. There were only a few sons of heaven who had learned the second style. Not a single son of heaven god sealing art had managed to learn the third style. In other words, the third style of the Son of Heaven God Sealing Art, all in one, had never appeared in the world since ancient times. This was the first time Gu Qinsha used the 10 styles as one, the power of sun and moon shine together. In an instant, he activated it, and all the golden elixir in his body jumped, and all the power was sucked out in an instant. At this moment, he seemed to have transformed into another sun and moon, and his brilliance filled the cave. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.